Waiting for a few more people to join. Let's give it another couple of minutes and then we can get started. In the meantime, see. Hi, Sudhir.
Good afternoon, Bharat. How are you?
Fine, and how are you?
Good.
Hi, Pawan. Hi, Srikanth. You're on mute. Hi, Niharika.
Yeah. How are you? How are you?
Fine, how are you?
Yeah, good. Glad to be joining again.
Good. Great to see you. Hi, Varun.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon. Varun here.
Hi, good afternoon, Varun. Okay, I think let's get started. As people keep joining, probably in the first next 5-10 minutes, I'll just quickly introduce what's in there for today, and then
Bharat, let everybody log in.
now it's already been 5 minutes.
Log in as in to the portal.
Yeah. Let's do that as well. So let me first introduce, and then we give them a time to log into the portal as well.
Okay.
So let me share my screen. Hope all of you can see my screen.
Yeah, we can see your screen.
Great. Okay. All right. Once again, welcome everyone. Before we get started today, let me just do a quick introduction. I am Bharat. I'm co-founder of GTMly. I spent last 20 years building products, working with founders, and trying to get GTM wrong enough number of times to know where it usually breaks. Okay. It is GTM for us is not just an academic interest, but it is a survival problem where we're trying to understand why it works, why it doesn't work. Okay, that's where the context that we bring in is kind of very important for us, because the session is majorly built by founders and for founders. So let me get a few expectations set right. So there's not going to be a lecture, there's not going to be a theory session, rather a working bootcamp where we would work along with you in the next 5 hours, 3 hours today, and then 2 hours tomorrow. We'll walk you through a few clear steps and executables so that we can start putting together GTM blueprints for each one of you. Okay. So once again, congratulations for you. You're not just the attendees of this bootcamp, but our first interactive 5-hour bootcamp session. So this also means that this won't be a picture perfect. We're also trying to learn how to deliver a 3-week program in 5 hours. So there would be learning for us as well. We are also trying to learn through you, not just we are building it for you. So in the next 5 hours, so as you can see, this is designed into smaller sessions, smaller games, and hands-on. Okay. The whole idea is we don't want you to do something very, very perfect. You can start with whatever that you have. We'll run you through each step clearly. We'll run you through each step clearly in the first hour. Let's try to be as honest as possible. And in terms of addressing some of the questions like who is your real customer, what value you're delivering, even this is wrong, that's fine. We can fix them at a later point. Okay. In the second hour, today we would understand and we would do a deep dive into buying psychology. What are the trigger moments? What are the decision pressures the customer has? What real progress looks like from the customer's point of view. Okay. And we would end it with a third hour where we would stitch together the first 2 hours with a value narrator in terms of how you can position your product, as a bridge between where you are stuck, where your customers are stuck today, and where they want to get in. Okay. So before we start, hope you have received your logins.
Yes, we have received.
Oh, so I want all of you guys to log into the platform as well. So because most of this would be run through, there would be a lot of activities that you need to do as part of the bootcamp. So we would need a quick confirmation from all of you whether you're able to log in, you have any difficulty, so that we can sort this out, then move to the next steps. So when you log in, this is how the page is going to look like, and you'd only have access to the first section. As we progress, we open each of these sections so that you can start doing those activities.
So, Bharat, are you saying that we fill it up or wait for it?
You wait for it. As we
Okay.
progress, we would first tell you what we intend to do with that, and then you can start filling it up.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, great. So just in case if you have any problem, just type it on the chat. Wherever you're stuck, somebody from the tech team would immediately jump in and try to help you. Okay, so let's start the first. So the very first thing that we would be doing is to ensure that all of us get some clarity about what your company does, what is your product, how does it work, what kind of customers you're looking at. So we would want you to take next 10-15 minutes. This is for the next 20 minutes as an exercise, but the sooner you can finish, then we can move on to the next ones. So the whole idea is you start filling in these basic details. Okay. Ensure you fill in as much information as possible, but it need not be most accurate. Whatever that you can think about it right now, that is what we want you to enter into, so that you can start seeing how it gets improved in the next 5 hours. Okay, but so in the product information, what is that? What is your product name? What is the value it is trying to offer? What kind of target market you're looking at? Just in case if you have worked on your ICP, what is that? Your top 3 use cases, your key competitors. Then some information about your marketing GTM that you're currently working on. Then some details about your teams. Okay. So you would have next 15 to 20 minutes to fill these basic details. You can ask me anything at any point in time. So I would request you guys to get started by filling this information. This information is very vital because this connects everything together as we progress. We use this information to simulate your potential customers, simulate various other behaviors. So ensure that this is filled to the clarity that you have today in the best possible format. Okay, if you have any questions, you can ask me. Otherwise, we can get going. So we have about 18 minutes.
So, Bharat, where will be an information technology product coming to industry-wise?
So if you think there is another industry that you want to pick, you can
Choose
you can choose others and then enter. So this is unfortunately, this is the classic industry classification what's been provided by Government of India. So we've been great. Otherwise, just do others and then do it.
Get it. Okay.
So I'll also try to fill in some details about one of our company. I'm not sure what's your name. It's called as pre-sales here. May I know your name, please? And did you receive the login credentials for the portal?
Ishwar, okay. Ishwar, click kara.
Ishwar ID. Okay. So looks like Ishwar has registered for 27, not for today.
Mother and paracetamol.
Just in case if you are able to completed it, or you have any doubts, just let me know. We can wrap that up. Then we can move to the next steps. So for some of you who have joined recently, what we're doing is, as a first step, we are logged into the portal, then trying to create a basic participant profile where we're trying to understand what is your company, what kind of products you're dealing with, who are your target audience, what kind of marketing you're doing. Those are being fed so that we can understand how this progresses forward. Hi, Suman. To make best use of this, you might need to access it from a laptop.
Yeah, sure, Bharat. Let me log into.
Thank you. We have another 10 minutes to go.
Meeting.
Hi, Ravi. Can you be on mute, please? So we'll have another 5 minutes before you finish this stuff. But still, you'll get the ability to come back and do it again. After 5 minutes, we'll move on to the next one. So let's get to the next one. Thank you. So for some of you who are able to fill the form, great. Otherwise, you'll still have a chance to go back and relook at it again. So let's move as per the schedule.
Bharat, sorry to interrupt. There are a few who joined little late, a couple of minutes ago. So leave them with a text. Which form they need to fill and where?
So for those of you who have joined late, so once you log into the portal, the very first link, which is called Profile Builder, that is what you need to build. You can build that at a little later point as well. Let us continue right now, and then we'll come back. So let me start with this simple question. So if somebody says, we've raised 5 million, acquired 1 lakh customers, and somebody else says we kept 95% of customers for 3 years. So these are two LinkedIn posts that you might have seen over a period of time. So which one you consider a vanity metrics versus a sanity metrics? So I want to understand what you think is a vanity. You can answer them on the chat, or you can simply say that as well. So the very purpose of why we're trying to understand this is most of the times we get into a rat race. Even if we win, we would be called a rat. So the whole idea is to understand why we are failing and what are some of the reasons can help us to move out. So most of the LinkedIn posts that we keep coming across is they keep saying, okay, we've raised $5 million at certain valuation, and we've crossed these many number of customers. So those are sanity metrics those are vanity metrics that's not going to help you really to grow. But if you're able to keep your customers happy, keep them for a long term, that is where you'll see the real value. Okay. So as you can see, the majority of especially Indian companies, we are focused more towards acquiring. We are not looking at retaining customers. Especially for a recurring revenue business models, the important part is not just about acquiring customers, but also ensuring that we retain those customers over a period of time. We would discuss this in detail in the next coming sessions as such. Let's do a quick calculation. Okay. So now that we spoke about acquiring customers, one of the common ways to acquire downloads, acquire new customers is through paying what we call as a foreign tax to Google and Facebook by simply advertising and then trying to download that and may start making use of that. Okay. Let's understand how these customers behave. Let's run a small math. Okay. Let's say you're running an ad spend of 1 lakh rupees and you acquired, say, 5 customers who end up paying what they pay you is about 5,000 or 10,000 rupees. Okay. If you really see, so you acquired 5 customers, which effectively means we are considering only the smaller metrics. Okay, we're not getting into the too many details as if. So the cost of acquiring a customer is about 20,000 rupees. Since they only paid about 10,000, your net result on day one is loss of 10,000 per customer. If you use a funnel, you're simply bankrupting your business upfront, expecting that, okay, you acquired a customer, but if you don't have any mechanism to retain and expand on that customer, that is when all your investment that you put into acquire customer will seamlessly help you to go bankrupt. This is what happens with most of the startups, where if you don't have money, you don't spend on ads, or you don't put aggressive mechanisms of acquiring customers, and you say you don't have money. On the other side, who got funded, they pour in money into advertisements, into a lot of inorganic techniques, and end up bleeding money like anything. So let's start saying a namaste and a goodbye to the funnels. Okay. So the funnel, which was majorly designed almost a century back, with this whole term called as AIDA, awareness, interest, desire, and action, as to how you create an awareness about a specific problem or a specific product or a specific solution, and then create interest to customers. How do you help them to take an action towards it? And that's how this funnel was designed. And now you have different terms towards, some people call them as top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and the bottom of the funnel. But end of the day, what we need to look at it as, once customer buys your product, where is he going? It's just being dropped off and you're losing these customers. Does this model work in India? Not really. Where we are a society of high trust, we need to build mechanisms, we need to build. Okay, what's the conclusion of, okay, I'll come back to that question, Ravi. So we need to build mechanisms in place to understand how we can start showing them impact, how we can start retaining them for a longer time. Okay. Ravi, probably Prashant, you can note down this question. What is the conclusion of part 2? So the whole.
Sure.
Okay. So the whole idea of we demonstrating a smaller value of this was, not every inorganic method would work. Okay. And when you spend ads on that, it will completely shake you out if you are not able to retain a certain number of customers as such. And we will discuss this in detail in the next hour as such. Okay. So we also gave you access on the platform to do the same exercise on your own, try to understand, calculate some basic stuff like a CAC, and then understand what should be your typical ad spend. How do you ensure whether the ad spend is making sense for you or not? You can do that exercise on your own. Let's move on to the next one. So let's understand how a customer life cycle within a product goes through. So there are different mechanisms on how it's been built. So today we would look at one of the mechanism which is kind of common, suitable for different kinds of industries, whether it is a manufacturing, a technology, or a healthcare industry. So we want to discuss about 6 different stages today. So this would, the customer value life cycle starts from the left hand side and it moves towards the right hand side. So it starts with awareness, where your customers might be aware of your problem that you're trying to solve. The customers might not be aware of the problem at all. Okay. It depends on how mature the market is and what kind of activities that you need to do during an awareness stage, okay, and what kind of education that you can offer them. Then the next stage is where the customer selects few players. Then tries to evaluate whether this product is going to work for them, not work for them. So finally, they will decide that, okay, now we're going to make a decision based on various parameters which they are aware of. Whether is this a product that I can build along, is this the impact that I can take it forward or not. Once they decide, then this whole part of activation comes up or onboarding comes up. So this is where we finally onboard the customer and start showing them certain amount of impact as such. So post the impact, this is where you would continuously provide them a certain value, so that the whole idea of continuous impact or a continuous value keeps in place. That is where you engage the customer to renew and expand. Okay. Let's go through each of the stages so that we get some basic awareness as such. So in the awareness stage, the whole point is, how do the right customers first notice us and their own problem as such? So what kind of questions do they have? Do I have a problem or an opportunity that here? Who can help me with this? How do you reach out to them? It can be through advertising, it can be through websites, social media content, industry events, different kinds of, these are some of the examples on how you can create an awareness. Awareness is the most basic first step that all of you have to do. You cannot simply go and start selling the product and ask them to buy the product. First, you have to ensure that there is enough and more awareness is created about the problem that you are trying to solve. This is kind of very critical. So during the evaluation stage, customers look for demos, they look for trials, they look for various kinds of pilots that you have. They also look forward for proposals and commercial discussions. What kind of questions are they looking at? Will this really work in my specific context? Is it better than what I'm currently doing? Am I happy with my status quo? Do I really need to get into it? What are the risks of this failing? What are the issues that I might this might arise once I adopt this solution? Then decision stage, this is where they zero down on few players and then they try to justify whether there is enough ROI, whether there is enough emotional justification. I as a buyer can find out, okay, by installing this, can I move forward in my profession? Can my boss take me as a good guy to get to that next level? Do I have enough trust with the suppliers and the support teams? So in this decision, they look for various elements. You cannot simply give them what we call as a proposal and then leave it. We have to give them ways and means on how they can adjust themselves and deciding which player is good, which player is not so good. This cannot happen just by feature comparison or a price comparison. There are various techniques that we can adopt to showcase that we are a much better player. Then, from an industry standard, even though customers have decided to buy your product, they placed a PO, about 5 to 8% of them still drop out because the activation is taking too much longer, or there is a whole lot of cumbersome process towards this journey of getting activated. So what kind of things that they look for us? How do you onboard them? How do you successfully train their end users? How do I start using this product? Is what customers generally look at. Then during the impact, that can be anywhere between a week time to about 3 months time, where they really decide, is this making their life or a business better? Am I getting the real value that was promised or not? So you need to ensure whatever has been promised gets delivered to them, and you can start showing them in a measurable format. Not all of them can be measured. Some of them can be qualitative. Some of them can be quantitative measurable items, which we would run you through a small exercise in the next one and take you through it so that you can clearly understand it. Okay. So you start small with an enterprise, with an SME. Then how do you start building that relationship as you move forward? Okay. What is that next best action with this brand? Okay. Do I trust them enough to buy again or recommend it to a customer? These are things that we should be asking customers. And what are we looking at? Let's say if you're a manufacturing company, do you offer spares, consumables, accessories? Is there options to upgrade? Is there ways to sell, cross-sell? So these are opportunities that will give you to re-engage. So let's say it takes, there are majorly three important elements inside the customer value life cycle. One is, how do you acquire your customers? How do you retain your customers? And how do you engage? How do you expand your customers? The first 2 years would preferably in the acquiring time. Then from third year onwards, you can start seeing your renewal or retention keeps growing. Okay, at a point in time, it becomes very important, very vital that your new customer acquisition starts declining as you move forward. Then you can only rely on retention. So it is very important for you to have a proper customer success from day one so that you can start retaining them and you can also start expanding within that existing customers. So with GTMly, this is one of the key elements that we look at. So we, as you have seen, we adopt a very different model than a simple funnel so that we understand who is that customer with whom you can retain, who is that customer with whom you can expand. So the idea is go fast in terms of acquiring customers and stay longer with the customer. That is how you can start building most optimal revenue for your organizations. Okay. So if you have any questions, just keep that. I will come back to these questions. Okay. So now we'll do another small exercise before we end this first hour. So you might have already have access to this one. Prashant, can you just access?
Yeah, they just need to refresh the page.
Can you refresh this page so that you can look at the third exercise, which is called Workshop Map Your Life Cycle? So the whole idea of this exercise is there are different kinds of assets which are there in the bottom of the page. You have to simply drag and drop into stages which are relevant. Okay. Each of the stage can, you need to fill it with at least three assets which are relevant to your industry or to this particular stage. So we'll take quick 5 minutes to do this exercise. You can log on to your pages and then start doing this exercise. I'll also do this exercise, but I'm going to stop sharing my screen and then I'll reshare it towards the end. you can see different kinds of assets which are there in the bottom of the page, like knowledge base, podcast, case studies, NPS surveys, assets which are relevant for each of these stages. We've designed 5 assets for each of these stages, but you need to at least fill 3. That's how this is going to work. Say, for example, in the awareness stage, things like podcasts, press releases, influencer posts, maybe an SEO blog post. These are things that we normally do as part of awareness. And during the evaluation stage, you give them your competitor analysis, a webinar deck on how you do your webinars, case studies, some white papers. And during the decision stage, you offer them ROI calculators, sales scripts. And in the activation phase, it is must to have product tours, quick start guides, a mechanism to do a kickoff calls and start onboarding the customers. And to analyze the impact, we look at usage dashboards, NPS surveys, and it's also important for us to have upsell playbooks as such. And during the re-engaging period, you look at re-engage alerts, renewal alerts, and then win back emails as such. Okay. So as you are done with this exercise, you can simply click on the finish exercise, and you can check whatever that you're currently doing at each of these stages. Just in case if you're doing something more, please add them as well. Like white papers are not listed here. Oh, it's listed here. Oh. Maybe customer testimonial videos. Okay, then once we do this, you can do a simple maturity assessment at what stage you are in each of this. Each stage has 4 things, where none means you don't have anything. Then a manual, where you're doing it, but you're doing it more from through a manual process. Then defined, you have a documented process and tools in place. Scale, this is where it is fully automated and you have a lot of predictive data that is possible. Okay. Once you do this, it will give you some assessment at what stage you are in for each of this. And Prashant, probably you need to clear these annotations.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
Yeah, I did it. Fine. Okay. So this will generate a small report which you can which you can save. This report will have this following sections: how much you have scored from a simulation, what is your current inventory, what is your GTM health analysis for each of this stage, and what are all the immediate gaps that you can start looking at. Okay. So that brings us to the end of the first hour. So we still have another 5 minutes to go before we jump on to the second hour.
Bharat, we are not able to do anything. It is freezed. Part 3.
Sir, can you refresh the page?
Ravi, can you need to refresh the page. So are you doing it on the screen, what you see? Do you have access to this particular screen?
No, I have opened the session and I am doing it, and it is reload.
Do you see this login screen? Once you log in, do you see this page?
No, this page. I have gone to the third one, view button. I have clicked, and from there I have gone and
Okay.
and
You need to click on start.
yeah, this one I am able to. From there, nothing is working for me. See, I need to write in everything.
No, you have to drag and drop. So there are items at the bottom. You have to drag and drop in the relevant section.
Okay.
That's a demo video. Demo video is that part of awareness or evaluation. So if you drop it on the wrong one, it'll show you red. If you drop it on the right one, it'll take it. This is what you need to do.
Okay.
You can take the next 5 minutes to finish this portion. In between, if you have any questions, we can answer them for you.
For a single one, can you not add drag two at a time?
You have you have to drag only one at a time.
Only one option.
Yeah.
So, Bharat, I have a question here, Sudhir here.
Please, Sudhir.
So, what I did was I actually dragged all of them into the respective boxes.
Okay.
I now hear you that we only drag those which we have. So, do we only take those boxes which we have with us, or we just map all of them?
So technically there are about more than 25. You need to map 18.
Oh, I mapped all the 24 actually.
Yeah.
So I can't go back and take it out.
And that's fine. If you have filled out, it will only take 3. So whatever that you have done, that should be fine.
Okay.
So you can go back and restart the whole thing after the session as well. So
Okay.
it's a small game so that we can understand what we do at every stage, so that it start making sense for us.
So it gives me a strategy audit score and a print or save PDF kind of thing.
Yeah. So what this gives you is where you are currently from a GTM standpoint. Okay. See, this is nothing to worry. That's it. This is something that will give us some basic stuff. Okay. What do you currently have?
So that is exactly what I was asking. So those are the things that you have in each of those buckets. So we should only put those that we have.
Exactly.
Yeah, that will actually give the actual picture. What I did is I actually mapped everything. Thinking that you asked us to map which comes under where,
Yeah, I understand. Now I understand. So you're talking about the second screen. So
not this one, the one before. Oh, the one before was correct only, like whatever I mapped.
Yeah.
The 6 boxes and then you drag and drop,
This screen, right?
Yeah. This I mapped everything to the respective boxes.
Sure. That should be good enough. So this will tell us what is our understanding, and then the next screen will tell us what do we have.
Okay. What do we have? Okay.
What do you have? What are you currently doing? And in the third step, it will give you. It will tell you again based on your assessment which stage you are. Are you doing anything in that particular stage? From none to scaled, where none actually means you're not doing anything. There is no asset. There is no process, or you're doing something manually, or you have a documented process and some tools in place. The final will be you have a fully automated process.
Got it. Okay.
So it scales from none to this one. So this will help us assess what kind of maturity are we in from a GTM standpoint across the stages of marketing, sales, and customer success. Ishwar, I think you have registered for December 27th, unfortunately. That's where you're not able to access. I'll share these details post the bootcamp.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, so now shit. So now we're almost done with hour one, where we tried looking at getting some basic clarity about what you're offering, trying to understand why funnels fail, and a basic life cycle of the customer from an awareness to expansion. And we did a small workshop to understand these concepts. Okay. So now for Howard, well, Arun will take over for the next 1 hour or so. He would introduce the next concepts. Over to you, Arun.
Thanks, Bharat. Hi, I'm Arun from Team GTMly. I'll be taking over for next 1 hour. So to do a quick wrap up, thanks, Bharat. So we went through a system. So before doing these things, we talked to many of founders, and most of the time we hear these vanity metrics, mostly the funnel, filling up the funnel and all. But somehow a solid system was missing, and that is what we tried to understand. So, what is the entire life cycle of the customer? So, how we can maximize the value of the customer when we actually have a system that addresses the entire life cycle of the customer. So that is what you looked at when the customer life cycle was presented. And the workshop helped us to identify, to address each stage, what kind of assets that we need. So what we have right now, what are the gaps that we need to focus on. So this is just to give you an understanding. So next part, what we are going to go through is what we call a customer progress framework. So if you look at the customer value life cycle, so it is mostly we look at the process from this stage to that stage. Like still we look at those metrics like, okay, at each stage, how many numbers that we have, what kind of conversion that we have. But to understand that from the customer perspective, what exactly he needs, that what kind of progress he is expecting going through that life cycle and utilizing your product, that is where we are going to look into for the next few minutes. So there are basically 4 questions that we ask at every stage. So about the customer, like where they are right now. So what is happening in their world, what situations are they in, and when they meet you here. So we need to understand, like if they are in an awareness stage, like what exactly they are looking for. Okay, what we need to convey to them, what kind of mediums that we can use. Then comes like what progress are they trying to make? So what exactly they are trying to fix or avoid or achieve? So this helps us how we can position our messaging, and what is in their way to make a decision for adopting our product. So whether there's some friction, whether there's some confusion, is there any risk involved, what kind of efforts and politics that are involved, what actually slows them down, and then what will move them forward with confidence. So how we address that and how we help them to move forward with confidence to make a decision and do a purchase. So this is what we are going to look into in this session, where at each stage, what exactly we need to understand the attributes of the customer and the kind of progress they are looking into or they want to make. So please ping me if I am a little fast, I can slow it down. Or if you are comfortable, I will go with this pace. You can just ping me. Okay. So first, we'll try to understand like what are various contexts and triggers the customer have. So we need to understand the customer behavior patterns. So how they normally research, how they find you actually. Okay, what kind of comparisons that they do, whom they go for help, what kind of decisions they make. And do they do it quietly, or they reach out someone for assistance, or they look into the web for assistance? How they actually go through this process? So those are various behavioral patterns that we need to understand. So, for example, a buyer avoids sales calls, so they prefer to ask for recommendations in a private Slack community of CTOs. So, in this case, the particular target customer, he doesn't prefer sales calls, so he generally seeks help from a private Slack community of CTOs. So if we know that, we'll know where to reach them, how to reach them, etc., etc. So that answers our first question, like where are they, and then what makes them take decisions. Is there an event that happened that forced them to look for solutions and take a decision? Is there any pressure from the management? Or is there any discomfort that he or she faced, which prompted them to look for a solution and make decision? So, what exactly broke, and what kind of a deadline that they have to make that decision? So, for example, there's a quarterly board meeting in 2 weeks, and they don't have the data that they need to present or the shape in which they want to present. So in that scenario, doing that manually takes a lot of effort from them, and it also is prone to a lot of mistakes. So if there is any solution that can automate this process and give them the report, they'll be happy to look into that. So if we understand the trigger, then we can actually address that effectively. Then we look at their work and situations, what they do day to day, and what kind of a situations, what kind of a jobs that they'll execute, and what kind of a situations that they'll encounter to execute these jobs. If we have that understanding, that helps us to enrich the definition of that particular customer group. So, what are the physical and digital realities of them? So, what they'll do in their physical work life, and what they do in online environment during their work. Okay, we don't like just look at their job title, but actual environment in which they'll work. So what specific tools they use, or what kind of whether they work from office or they work from home, what kind of a situation or environment is there around that? Are they stressed, or are they bored at this moment? What exactly a situation they are in? Let's take an example. So. They are in a parked car between meetings. So they finished one meeting and there's another meeting that they need to take, but they also need to travel. So they are actually attending the meeting from their car. Okay. So they are trying to update the CRM on iPad, which has 4G. Okay. So they have 4 minutes before the next client walks out. So this is the situation they are in. So they are moving between the meetings. They are taking their calls, or addressing some important aspects of work in their car on their iPad. So whether we are catering to that situation or not, that we need to understand. And standard things like what are their pains and what are their goals. So what hurts them in this current situation, and what outcome would make them feel progressed or make them feel comfort. So that particular thing that we need to understand. For example, spending 4 hours every Friday manually copying the data is pain. So you are on the brink of the weekend and you need to do a bulk of work at the last moment. There's going to be a friction. So what their goal is, like, they want to leave the work on time and see their kids spend their weekend happily. If you can address that pain point and ease out that work, it will help them a lot, and they will definitely consider looking at your product or your solution. And what kind of objections and worries they have. So whether they fear about the cost, or whether they fear that, okay, this needs too much of effort and I can't spend that much of a time, or whether they see some risk with it, or whether they're looking for some reputation, that, okay, if I use this particular solution, it will improve my reputation, it will make me good in front of other people. So what actually worries them, and giving them some sleepless nights. So we also need to look into that context as well. For example, so they are worried that if they switch vendors, the data migration will fail and they'll lose historical records. So let's say they are in a situation they they need to look for some new vendors or new solutions and move the data, and then they fear, like, okay, during that there'll be a loss and some records they might lose. So if your solution is addressing that worry, okay, they want to look into your solution. And then what kind of a values or non-negotiables that they have. So what is the definition of good looks to them? So what they feel respectful, smart, or safe, and what are their absolute requirements? What are those qualities that they don't want to compromise with? Okay, that might be a data privacy. They don't want to compromise at all on the data privacy, or they don't want to compromise on speed, or they don't want to compromise on the image that they'll have when they use particular product. So we need to understand what kind of things that are non-negotiable. So what values they hold on top. And then we also need to understand what kind of a messaging tone, style that works with a particular customer group, and what are the channels in which they are more active. So where we can actually reach them. So where do they pay attention, and what feels natural to them. So we cannot just go with a business jargon and expect them to reply to that or show interest. So we need to know what tone feels natural. We don't whether too salesy affects them, or whether too generic thing if we post that they don't care. So we need to understand what kind of a language, tone, and structure that we need to use. So where are they digitally when they need help? So whether they're utilizing the chat or WhatsApp channels when they need help, or whether they're going to some forums and asking questions, or whether they're doing some calling, or they're asking for some demos. So what exactly they do when they need some sort of help. For example, they ignore cold emails but read every issue of the newsletter. So in that case, we'll prefer to communicate the important things through newsletters. So if you do a quick exercise, you can actually note it down if you have some paper or you can type in. What are where are they right now? So your target customers, most of them are in which particular phase, whether they're in awareness phase or whether they are evaluating different solutions with evaluating your competitors, or whether they are in a stage where they are trying to take a decision and comparing the prices or what kind of ROI this solution will deliver, or what kind of a progress they are trying to make, whether they want to get free from something, or whether they want to save some hours, whether they want to save some money, what kind of a quantifiable progress that they want to make. We also look into in next session what are the different kinds of progress as well, and what is currently is in their way to achieve that progress, and then what would move them forward, what to actually address those obstacles and move forward in their decision making. So these four questions, if you can answer at each stage, then you will have more clarity on what exactly that we need to communicate to this target group, and how exactly we can maximize and make a progress in that particular stage. So on closing notes, as we discussed, there are four things that we need to ask, and then everything you say and do should help your customer make real progress. It's not just like dumping information there. So whatever we do, even posting a single piece of information, that should make the customer, that should help the customer make a real progress. So that is what we need to take into consideration. So let's do a little fun exercise. You can actually open your interface and then refresh it. You just refresh the page, and you can see live exercise, identify the trigger movement activity. Just click on that view button, and then you will get this sort of an interface. Here we're doing a little fun exercise where there will be statements that will be presented to you. If you feel that statement is a real customer trigger where that enables them, or where they'll think about taking a decision or exploring about that particular subject, you move that to the right. Either you can drag and drop, or you can use your keyboard, use the left and right keys. So when you move left, you're telling that, okay, this is just a basic statement. This doesn't actually trigger the customer to explore more or take a decision. If you move right, that statement is where, okay, you feel that this is a real trigger where customer thinks about this particular situation, evaluates options, and takes some decision. So we started.
Yeah.
Yes.
Excuse me, Arun. This nothing is happening, boss. I in the screen, no.
Yes.
We need to drag it right or left, right?
Yes.
Nothing is happening.
You can also use your keyboard keys. Okay, right key to move it right, left key to move it left.
Yeah, I am using the mouse and.
So I'm just dragging it. Okay. Here the statement is.
Yeah. Now it has happened. Okay, thanks.
Yeah. So here the statement is we need to optimize our workflow. Okay. So whether that is their statement actually prompts a real evaluation and decision at this point of time, or is just a statement that they don't immediately take any action on it. If they don't take it, you need to move it to left. If you feel that okay, they'll take some action on it, you move it to the right. Okay, so I feel this is not the statement where they try to do some action immediately. So move it to left. Yeah. So what you understand is optimize is just a buzzword. So there's no urgency or specific pain associated with that statement. So that is why, okay, this is just a generic statement. Now we have another statement where, okay, the CFO rejected the budget because the ROI data was missing. Okay. So that is the situation I'm in. So whether I'll make a decision, whether I'll evaluate some solutions and try to adapt something, or whether I just postpone it now. So I don't have any urgency. I feel this coming from CEO, CFO, that is very pressing issue. So I'm moving it right. So why this is correct? Okay, there is a specific person, there is a specific situation where he is rejected.
Bharat, I'm not able to
and
do
there are
anything
high
in the screen.
stakes involved. Pardon me?
The exercise screen, it is a standstill.
Either try
Nothing is. No, can you do a demo in your screen? Can you?
Are you in this?
Can you do a demo in your screen?
Please. Yeah, that's what I'm doing, the demo. Okay. So I'm moving it left or right and dragging it.
From the beginning. From the beginning.
Okay. You want to from the beginning? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, afterwards.
So I'll move this. Okay. I'm moving it to the left. And there is another statement that came in. Okay, the server crashed on Black Friday. So I feel this is a pretty serious issue that needs immediate action. So I move it to the right. And so there's a maximum financial pain associated with it. You want to take some immediate action. And some of you, if you are unable to do it right now for whatever the reasons, you can always come back to it after this bootcamp. So these screens will be accessible for you. I'll walk you through these statements quickly. So there's statement called we need to optimize our workflow as we see previously. So that is not an immediate action that will take. So a competitor just launched a feature which we don't have. So we need to immediately think of it. So I moved it to the right. Again, this one we already seen, the CFO thing. Okay. And we want to be more innovative. So there is nothing specific associated with it, with person, time, anything is associated with it. So we'll just move it to the left. So it's just vague aspiration. And if our target customer in a situation where missed his daughter's game because he was just manually entering all the data, analyzing the data manually. So that is a pressing issue for him. So he's losing family time. So he might want to evaluate an options where he can attend his daughter's game. So there's a personal cost associated with it. There's this specific manual pain associated with it that creates a high urgency. So what we understand through these statements, we are trying to figure out what actually triggers a thought or an action for our customer. So here you are presented with a simple form you need to enter what kind of a customer role that you're trying to address. Okay. What is the context? That is what kind of a work that he is trying to perform. Okay. And what makes him take a decision at that point of time? What event is triggered that is forcing him or her to take a call on that particular context? And then what is his immediate reaction when he is encountered with that situation? So I'm typing along, you also try to do it. Here I'm taking my customer as let's say chief of product is my customer. What is the context? So he's trying to plan the features for the next sprint. What triggers an action in this particular context? So do he know what exactly those features that needs to be developed? Do he or she has the data on what the previous feature, how the previous features were working, or do he has the data or the documents that helps him to understand or what are the various things that are there already in the pipeline or in the bucket. So all these things that he need to look into. Do he has that project management tool which helps him to understand what kind of a capacity that is available for the next sprint. So there are a number of items that he needs to look into and take a decision. So if something is not there, that is a pain. So in this case, I'm taking that he's not sure about the team capacity for next sprint. Okay. So when he is not sure about the team capacity for the next sprint, what kind of a reaction that he has is just about missing the deadline. Okay. So I have a role. Just I'm looking at a context of what is trying to perform. I'm looking at a trigger, what kind of obstacle or the objection that or some kind of an event that triggers to think more and evaluate more options to perform that particular context, and what kind of a reaction that he has when he faced with that kind of a trigger. So this gives you a trigger analysis report. So this says you, okay, the subject was currently planning features to be developed for the next sprint. At this critical moment, the following specific event occurred, where he's not sure about team capacity for the next sprint. So this kind of cards, trigger cards, you can generate and then store it for your read later. Then you understand your customer better, what their triggers, their pains and all. So you can address them more effectively in whatever the medium that you communicate with them. So this is one fun exercise that helped us to understand the triggers. Okay. Let's move to our next session, which talks about what kind of a progress that a customer wants to make. So we looked at the triggers, their pain points, their behaviors and all, but what is the real progress that they wanted to make? Okay, there are three types of progress that we're looking into. Something is practical, a quantifiable progress. Let's say I want to save these many hours, or I want to save this much of money, or I want to increase this much percentage of efficiency, etc., etc. Okay, and there are mostly we look at these kind of a practical progresses, or we communicate these practical progresses. But there are two other layers of progresses that will actually force them to take a decision, or that will enable them to identify with our product. So those are called emotional and the social progresses. So let's take one example and figure out what are these three different types of progresses. So let's say there is a tool which offers this automated reporting, which saves 4 hours of manual work every Friday. So we have seen one example previously where they need to go and spend quality time with their family over weekend, and they have so much of manual work to do on the brinkums of the Friday. So a tool addresses this practical problem, so which saves 4 hours of manual work. So you can quickly go to home on Fridays. This is a practical progress that we are talking about. But what is the emotional progress? So now they feel less anxious about the weekends. So they know, okay, they can finish this particular process within the time, and they can go and spend some quality family time as well. So that feels emotionally in control. And what is the social progress? By doing this, okay, they make sure that things are ready on time, they are perfectly drafted, easy to consume, and that makes them look good in front of their superiors or board. So they have all the answers instantly and they'll feel respected. So that is kind of a social progress that they're looking into. So these two progresses, they won't tell you like, okay, we are looking for this kind of a progress. But on the psychological front, these progresses will do a lot of help, or a lot of they make them to think whether this particular product or offering helps us or not. So there's always something that goes in the back of their mind. So there is again a small exercise. Again, you can go here. Okay, so there is a section called guided instructions. What progress look like? Okay, just refresh your page. Prashant, can you enable this? So, guided instruction section.
Yeah.
You need to unlock it.
Check Arun once.
Yeah. Now you can click on this view button. You land this screen. Land on this screen. Okay. So check these things and click on my turn. It'll give you a small form where you just fill in, keeping your customer in mind with your product, what kind of a practical progress that you can offer, and what you feel the emotional progress that it provides, and how they look socially, what kind of image that will portray socially when they use your solution. You have a quick 2 minutes. Now, don't think too much. Just try to fill whatever comes to your mind right now. If you have any questions, you can post it here or ask. I'm happy to help. So if I'm trying to fill in, considering one imaginative product. Let's say I have a product that saves, let's say 2 hours of time when they're trying to post something in social media. So this is the practical progress I'm looking at. So what can be the emotional progress? Okay, so they feel confident that friction. Okay, that can be their emotional progress. I'm just thinking loud here. And what's the social progress? Okay.
Lalit, you can.
There's an echo. You can
Pardon, boss. Actually, there was an ego.
do it again.
Can you please repeat, Arun? I didn't
Yeah.
get you.
Screen, control next.
If you don't see the button, might have the screen. Just do control minus. So just zoom out. You can see the interface. If your screen is not fitting the enter interface. So what here we are trying to do it here, like we are entering the kind of a progress that the customer is trying to make, and then you click on generate stack. It will give you your answers, which you can take a print off or save as a PDF and keep it with you. And that way you can enter different kind of information and save some cards for you that you can refer that whenever you are communicating with your target group. Okay, will I move to the next one? You can always come back to this courses bootcamp. Okay. So what we have looked at until now is like what are the various aspects of the customer that we are trying to look into, what kind of a trigger movements that they'll have, so what kind of a progress that they are looking to achieve. Based on this, we'll do a simple interactive workshop. Again, go back to your GTMly interface, refresh that, and you can see the workshop, create your customer progress profile. Prashant, is that enabled?
Yeah.
Okay, in this workshop, you're going to see.
I don't think it's enabled.
I can just refresh that.
I did a couple of times.
Okay. So this one is what you're looking at. Workshop, create your customer progress profile. Okay. So I'll be handing it over to Bharat. So he'll take you through this workshop where you'll be presented with whatever the information that you entered. Who can be your end users and Prashant, you're on mute. Okay. So he'll guide you through. He'll present you the end users who can be the end users of your product and how to build the ICP definition from there. For this, we need to have the information that you have entered in the beginning in your profile builder. If you are not, this is the time for you to go back there and fill in that information. Bharat, can you please take?
Thank you, Arun. Now that we're almost touching the second hour, the end of second hour. So far, what you have done is more manual, more stressful. This is where GTMly starts taking over from you. Okay. First, I'll take you through the whole steps. Then you can fill it up and play around with it at a later point as well. So, so far you understood who can be the possible ICP, what are they really looking at, what is it they're trying to get done. We looked at rational, social, emotional jobs, different sets of things. Now you can see all of them coming into one single piece. Right now, I've used my data, which I've entered for a low-code platform called Zero Code, which is one of our product. Okay. So what we do is we can. You don't need to do this parallelly. I'll give you time to do this afterwards. So we start with identifying who is the end user. Okay. Every screen, it will give you options. You need to go through it patiently to understand that and then proceed to the next steps. This particular one is kind of very, very important. And so the options that it gave us citizen developers, for each one of you, based on the data that you have entered, you'll get these details. So as Arun mentioned, in case if you have not completely filled your details, go back and fill it after you start, before you start this. Maybe I'll start with a business analyst. So because I want business owners to, non-tech users to build the platform. So I want to understand how the business analyst would be using. Okay. So their primary pain point is translating business requirements and process into a working application with fewer handoffs. That's the pain point that they're looking at. What's the desired outcome that they're looking at? Quick prototyping, validating, and refining the whole digital workflow. Okay. So let me select this as an end user. So end user is the one who is going to use your product ultimately, who is going to benefit by using your product. So when you start this whole exercise of identifying your ICP, starting with an end user in mind helps you a lot. Okay. So behind the scenes, the system is churning out lots of information, trying to identify who can be the potential customer, and then take you through a series of steps. So now we've selected an end user. So for this particular end user, it gave about 5 different ideal customer profiles. This is where such a role would exist. This can be in the mid-market IT services or digital transformation companies, enterprise SaaS implementation partners, a large enterprise PMO or a business operations team, process-heavy BPOs, or project-based digital marketplaces. So for this particular end user, these are 5 ideal customer profiles. I'm looking at a mid-market. I'm not looking at the enterprise segment. So probably 50. I'll look at SaaS implementation partners. Let's take that as an example. Okay. What is that SaaS implementation partners are looking at? They are looking at implementing complex SaaS platforms for enterprises using business analysts, not using developers. And this way they can understand the business. And these days, these are called forward deployed engineers as well. So what are all the different buyer roles? Who are all the influencers within that company? When you're dealing with B2B specifically, you have to deal with multiple sets of people. So let me select this enterprise SaaS implementation partner. So now as a next step, we'll try to understand each persona. So we started with an end user, then we ended up with an ideal customer profile. So within that ideal customer profile, we look at different personas as to what they would do, what is that they're looking to achieve. Then we'll get into details of one particular persona as such. So this is where GTMly tries to understand your specific needs and then convert these needs into solutions that would meet your own, your and your customers' precise requirements. So here it gave me different kinds of users. James, a senior project manager who can be a champion of this cause. Priya, a business analyst who is an end user. David, director of solution, who is a technical buyer. Laura Chen, a managing partner who is a decision maker. and then Michael, head of professional services, is the primary buyer. So there are different kinds of users who would be either part of a buying committee or they would be part of in some or the other ways when you're trying to sell this product. One single message won't work for all of them. Each of them have their different goals, their different needs. They're trying to solve different pain points. Okay, let's quickly look at a couple of them. Okay, I'm looking at a senior project manager. His goal is to deliver projects on time and within budget. Minimize scope, disputes, and client escalations. Okay, versus somebody, an end user, Priya. Her goal is to translate requirements into working solutions with minimal rework. Okay, validate process with clients early and often. So if you can see the goals between each of them, even though they are trying to utilize the same product, but their goals are completely different. So a single messaging won't work in an enterprise sell. So you need to ensure that we offer different kinds of information to different sets of people. So let us check. Okay, I'll get into the decision maker. Let's get into the details of this particular persona. Okay. What is that he's looking at? So he's looking at quarterly margin pressures, cash flow issues, vendor escalations. And one of his key objection is he is concerned about the total cost and disruption of introducing a new platform. How are we going to respond? This is predominantly as if I am doing it. So from a zero code stand position, we're saying, okay, phased rollout with quick wins and clear payback periods. This is what we're saying. Okay. As Arun was taking you through the whole process of jobs, the whole process of understanding what is the relevance for somebody to pick a product and not pick a product, where they are currently. Now we have stitched all these pieces together and then we are trying to show you. Okay. So the very first thing that we're doing is we're trying to identify for this decision maker, what are those important jobs which might be related to your product. Okay. See, one of this job is creating a repeatable innovation engine with clients. Protecting client relationship with lower delivery risk. Planning and executing scalable delivery operation models. So some of you might not understand this because this is related to our product, which is a low-code platform. So when you run it for your customers, you'll be able to relate it much better. So what I do here is I would select two jobs. Okay, I'm saying differentiating the firm in competitive enterprise RFP market. And I'm saying developing new recurring revenue streams around the platform. Or maybe I'll just pick this one. Allowing business units to self-serve their software needs safely. So based on these two jobs, we want to generate certain kinds of what we call as context. Under which situation, under what context they would be trying to do these jobs. This will help us narrow down on the ICP from a 50 to 500 employee and enterprise SaaS partner to a much more granular one. Okay. So if you look at here, so for this first job of differentiating the firm in a competitive enterprise RFP, so M&A integration and post-merger system harmonization. So you can, from a SaaS implementation partner to, we are looking at M&A integration companies, okay, post-merger harmonization companies. So whichever company is being acquired, whichever company is trying to do a post-merger activity, they are a much more narrow niche for you now. So you can start understanding, start tracking them and start pitching to them with a very interesting mechanism. Okay. Innovation and co-creation partnerships with strategic accounts or multi-regional rollout of local and localization programs. enterprise SaaS product onboarding and configuration projects. So I'm going to select a couple of them from a context standpoint as well for each of these jobs. And then I generate something called as a situation. Why we do all of this exercise is so that we have a clear understanding from our product to how do I message what jobs or what needs I address the customer so that he can see a real progress. Okay. As I mentioned during my presentation, not everything is quantifiable. There are certain things which needs to be delivered more from a quality standpoint as well. So that is where the situations would typically help you with. So if you look at some of the situations, I'm saying this is the job, differentiating the firm in a competitive enterprise RFPs, M&A integration and post-merger system harmonization. Relative competitive strength of the firm's zero-code positioning in the market. Okay. So the worst case is competitors have stronger, more visible low-code certifications, stories or certifications or references. The best case is the firm is widely recognized for the distinctive zero-code expertise in M&A harmonization. So you can understand which stage you are in, identify which stage you are in, and then you can also start making progress. You can use the situations for two things. One, to identify what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, so that you can start messaging it much more clearly. The second point is you can also evaluate your customers against these situations. Tell them, okay, currently you are in this stage one, which is the worst case. By using our platform, our product, our service offering, we'll be able to move you to 3 or best to 5 in the next 6 months. So this becomes more a qualitative thought process as such. Okay. So you can do, I'll give you next 5-10 minutes. You can do this exercise on your own, and then we can get to more questions on this. Before you do this, ensure you have entered your product information properly. You ensure you entered your at least basic customer information properly. Okay, thank you. Let's see. Doesn't do it here. So we'll give you another 5 to 6 minutes to do that exercise because it is simple selection. But you can go back and do it later as well. I just want to understand if you're able to access it, and if you get a basic of this, that should be good enough for now, and then we can move forward. Okay, in the meantime, we can, for the first 2 hours, we can take some questions, maybe for the next 10-15 minutes as well. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them along with Arun. Otherwise, we can move to the third hour. We are almost on time. There are some questions in the chat.
Yeah. Bharat, this platform, whatever the exercises, what we are doing, the login and other things, how long it will be available for us to do the exercise and work on it? Maybe
so this will be available for next couple of weeks.
Okay.
So in the meantime, if you have any questions, we can very well answer them in the meantime as well. The ICP exercise that what we've done in the last 10 minutes is a very important exercise and a very basic and a fundamental exercise that everybody need to do. The significant advantage what we bring from a GTMly standpoint is we've created a huge data for multiple industries, close to about 100 plus industries, and we understand who can be your possible customers, what are they looking at, what kind of situations they are in, how do you help, so that from the next sessions you can start putting together what kind of messaging should really work for them. Okay. So take some time. Don't be in hurry. You can take time leisurely. Try to build that. So if we don't have questions, we can move to the next hour. Okay, we'll take a small, quick break for 5 minutes. Then Arun will continue with the third hour. In between, if you have questions, please do ask them on the chat. We'll be happy to answer them.
Hello, welcome back. Are you able to do that exercise, everyone, or still you're trying to do it? So you can always come back. That phase will be available for you. Let's go to the next session. Now here, what we'll be trying to do. Let me share the screen. We are into R3. You might be little overwhelmed with all this kind of information and interaction. Let's take you through a simple story to understand what the things that we've discussed in the first couple of hours and how it makes sense. Okay, this will be conveyed through a small story. We have a character whose name is Arav. So he is a consultant and he lives in Pune. And he's trying to offer his services. Let's see what he does. Okay, so what Arav thinks is okay. Let me write something powerful. So he wants to sound very good. So let's see what he tried. So we tried an Instagram ad which talked about like we help businesses unlock exponential growth with data-driven strategies and cutting-edge solutions. CMS to grow your business. So this is the Instagram ad that is posted. So it looked like okay, there's a lot of things that he's trying to offer, but it's not clear what he's exactly offering. So what exactly he's trying to address, what pain he's trying to address. So this is kind of a vague statement that he has. So he posted that. And he feels okay, it sounds very nice. So the result, so he's trying to boost his post, but there are no likes, no DMs, nothing is resulted from this particular advertisement. So why that has happened? Let's see what he realizes. So he says there are 0 clicks, unlock exponential growth. That statement is very confusing. So next day, he was at a co-working space. So there he got some time and he was thinking like, who really wants this particular service? So I just posted it, but it's not clear on like who this service we're offering to. So it's not any business. So any business means it's everybody and nobody. So let's try to figure out the issue. Then he took his notebook out and he wrote. So he wanted to focus on local fashion and footwear stores in a tier 2 city, which is Nagpur or Nasik, and where the owner sits at the counter and is worried about the stock and cash. So this is how he defined the ideal customer profile. So whatever the activity that you did previously when Bharat is taking through that ICP definition, so this is what it helps to narrow down your focus and do a precise targeting. Then he figured out Meera, who runs a store in Dharampet, So he realizes Mira is the ICP that he needs to target. So he reached out Mira. So he did a LinkedIn DM saying, "Hi Mira, I run a consulting service that helps retail businesses like yours to grow faster with better use of data and inventories." Again, this post or this message doesn't clearly tell you what exactly is offering and what kind of a value proposition that he's proposing. Okay, so what Mira thinks grow faster with data and inventory insights is kind of a vague statement. Okay, but at least he's talking about fashion stores. He also tried to contact her offline through call, for which she responded, "Okay, Arav, you can drop in around 4 p.m. next Friday at my shop." So because now Arav tried targeting a specific ICP, there was some response. But whether it turned into a fruitful discussion, let's see. So Arav thinks, okay, it's good. I got a response, but still I feel the messaging is vague. So he goes to the shop of Mira, and Mira welcomes him, offering him chai. So then Hara tried to pitch the message again to Mira. What he says is like, I help retail businesses grow using data strategies to increase overall business potential. So again, Mira thinks, okay, but what does that mean for me day to day? Okay, she's unable to understand how it helps her in her day to day life. Okay. So what Arav tries to do is adding some more information to it. There is says like we work on improving your stock mix and margins so you can scale efficiently. Again, it is though it is talking about some of the aspects of Mira's work, but it is still not so clear. In the meantime, Mira got distracted by a customer, and she says, "Honestly, Ara, I'm stuck in daily running. I do not know if I can handle a growth project right now." So she feels that is a very heavy work, and she's not clear if she can handle that kind of a work. So Arav thought, okay, I exactly conveyed the message, and that is the biggest pain point that I'm trying to address, where my ICP would very well utilize that, and they'll be interested. But what resulted is like, they are confused and they thought it is a bigger task that they cannot handle. So what happened? Got a right customer, but it still spoke in a language, a business language, a LinkedIn language, which the particular customer was unable to understand. Okay, what does Arav do next is like he went back to Pune and then he stops selling and starts analyzing Mira's reality. Okay, this is where the topic that we discussed, the customer progress framework, helps us. So it helped Arav to figure out what is the behavior of Mira. So she's on feet all day and she lives mostly in WhatsApp. Her pain is really the dead stock and cash tied before the GST. She need practical help, not a new software or tool that thrown at her. And her major objection is like, I don't have time for all this. So now Arav understands these points. Let's see what he does. So instead of a Zoom call or a LinkedIn message, it to send a WhatsApp voice note because she lives on the WhatsApp most of the time. So he shares a voice note where he says, Hi Mira, yesterday I sat with a store owner in Nasik. We pulled just 2 months of viewers bills into Excel. She cleared 1.5 lakh worth of slow moving stock. No new software. Now look at the way the messaging has improved. Now he's trying to target exactly the pain points or the day-to-day scenarios of Mira. Let's see what happens next. So Nasik store 1.5 lakh. He is also offered a 1 minute video. Okay, she feels okay. That is more relevant to me, and she asked to send that video to her. Okay, Arav sends a video showing how to use her existing software and do whatever that he's promising. Okay, so Arav sends that, and Mira realizes, okay, this looks exactly what I'm doing day to day. And now she doesn't feel like it is a big project and more efforts needed from her side. But still, she hasn't progressed to a decision yet. But Arav understood, okay, this is working better, and he grouped the customers like Mira, and he shared a LinkedIn post. Now, in this LinkedIn post, I'll quickly read through that. So it says, like, if you run a fashion store in a tier 2 city, you probably know this saying: end of season. One side of the stockroom is full of last month's designs that nobody touches. On the other side, customers keep asking for the same 4 colors and sizes that finished last week. So if you know any of the fashion store owner, this is their regular scenario. People don't ask what is there; they'll try to ask something which is out of stock. Okay, so cash is sitting on hangers instead of in our bank account. So last month, I sat with a women's wear store owner in Nasik. We just opened her POS bill report for the last 60 days and did 3 simple steps. In 3 weeks, she cleared a big chunk of old stock and had more of the extra styles her college crowd was asking for. So here he conveys the message properly. So he addressing the customers' pain points, their behaviors, their decision traits, and the kind of progress they are trying to achieve. Now the message has much more clarity, and the target customer can relate to their day-to-day life, their struggles, and see, okay, spending very little time and focusing on 3 simple steps can clear a bigger problem for them. So that's where they'll be more interested in, and that is where they're more likely to respond to. So that is what happens with Mira as well. So she feels like whatever is conveyed. So it's exactly the situation she is in, and this particular thing will help us immensely. So she responds back, and Arav feels happy. Then the strategy card for Arav evolved. So the customer he should be focusing on is tied to fashion store owner. The goal is to free cash from dead stock. The progress, the emotional progress he is trying to achieve is not scared of the stock room. And then uh, positioning is like not a software but a practical POS partner. So this kind of positioning is will help him to gain more customers. So this is how understanding their life cycle, understanding their progress helps to modify the message and get more wins. So how it evolved? It started with the data-driven growth solutions, which is much more a vague statement. to a statement where he is promising to free 3 lakh dead stock before this Diwali. So that is how whatever that we learned through past 2 hours, try to do some exercises will help us to reach this stage where our customers are more likely to respond to whatever the communication that we are trying to make. So this is the life of Oracle and how understanding the customer life cycle and progress helped it to shape the right kind of a messaging and strategy to acquire customers. So hope you like this particular story and understood how a customer-led growth strategy is the way to go forward, whatever the efforts that we do in our marketing or go to marketing. Now, if you're all ready, let's have one more workshop. This is the last workshop of the day. Again, you go back to your interface and you can see a workshop, create your outcome value narrative. Just click on the view button. This will open this particular page where you are expected to select to begin with a particular solution, whether it's a app or it's a manufacturing product or it's a fintech solution or an agency, healthcare or other. So select which is much more relevant to you. So I'm selecting SaaS here. You can select any of this. Then we're going to click Start Workshop. Before going through this, let me ask, are everyone able to access this screen? A quickly reply and chat will do. If you say yes, I'll proceed. Okay, I can't see any response. Hope you are all there. Here, we will be selecting the life cycle stage. Let's say customer awareness. So awareness is a stage where they know the symptoms, but they don't know the cure. Okay, like that you can select any stage. I'm selecting the awareness here. And who is the customer targeting? Let's go back to the chief of product. And I have my role, who is chief of product. So I'm offering a SaaS solution and I'm addressing the awareness stage for this particular role. Now I need to list 3 struggles that this particular role experiences in his day-to-day life. Okay. So it can be, okay, technical debt that is slowing down, or high churn rate of onboarding, disconnected data silos. So these are the struggles he's trying to address. You can add whatever the struggles that you think that your role customer is going to experience. List minimum 3. You can add more as well if you want. And then click on the next button. Now you have listed 3 struggles. Let's select one struggle, main struggle. Let's say technical debt that is slowing down. Now look at what kind of a practical progress that the solution can offer. Okay, what it reduces. Let's say, well, this is the practical progress that the solution offers, which is it reduces 50% up to 59%. So, want to see an emotional state of relieved and confident using this solution, and the social status of a strategic leader in front of the team as well as the top management. And this will build a narrative here in this builder. So whatever your answers are, they are here. Now you are just dragging and dropping to fill these blanks. So we are in this case, I'm addressing chief of product who is tired of technical debt slowing him down. Okay, so you can reduce up to 59%, and they'll feel relieved and confident and be seen as a strategic leader. So these give you a statement, a strategy card. Like this, you can create those strategy cards and then build your strategy around it, like how Arav did. So you're doing that right now. Any questions here?
Okay, so they're all trying to fill this data, I guess, with ICP and other information. Okay, so this is what we wanted to do today in the boot camp. We've almost completed the first 3 hours. So tomorrow we would have the next couple of hours. So we still have about half an hour time. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer them before we jump on to, before we conclude the day and then meet again tomorrow.
One clarification.
Yeah, please.
I think our product is, I think, may not be coming in any one of the categories of what we have discussed.
So what is your product?
I think you remember, just think why be.
You can choose other there.
Sorry?
There's an option called other, so you can choose that option. If it doesn't.
No, for us to have the knowledge, just to think, I mean, that the case studies or any one of the options, it may be out of the box.
What is your product?
Vibe, it is a natural pain relief solution.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so there is healthcare industry. The classification of industries is based on the India industry codes. You can select something which is relevant, but if you're able to enter the basic details, you're talking about the specific exercise that you're doing now?
No, for the whole journey, somewhere I think we are not matching the templates.
Mm-hmm.
This we are deviating and.
Okay. Okay, fine. So probably we can take that offline. We can run through, see what comes out.
Okay. Yeah. Is there any possibility to have a one-to-one discussion maybe for 10 to 15 minutes by tomorrow?
Yeah. We can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure. Okay, thank you, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow and then continue with the rest of the 2 hours. So,
yeah, before concluding, I just want to have a word. So there's a very important and interesting session that will coming up tomorrow, where we are going to see whatever that we have discussed. There is so many things that you need to look into and act upon. like how all these things get automated, reduce a lot of work for you, especially the founders who are driving the marketing or small teams that are driving the marketing, how it makes your life very easy and how it helps you to execute this kind of a top strategy without spending too much time on it or giving too much of your efforts to it. Let's see how that unfolds, what the solution is going to offer. That will be more interesting session. So I do request all of you to join tomorrow's session, and then let's see how that unfolds. Okay, thank you for attending, and see you back tomorrow, same time. Thank you. Those statements doesn't accurately reflect what exactly we need to do, whom we are targeting, how we are targeting. Uh, that kind of a thing will be missing in most of the statements. So that is what we call it as the mission mindset. To exactly know whom we are targeting, exactly know what we are trying to achieve in what time, and who is responsible to do that. So that is what a mission is. Here, this is an example which says like do enterprise sales this month. So that doesn't tell you whom to target, what to achieve. But if you convert that into a mission statement, secure file letter of interest from C&I prospects in Pune. So that statement has more clarity. Okay, where you need to go, what you need to achieve. So that is what we call it as a mission. So what it does is like your objectives for, let's say, 6 months or 1 year, what exactly you want to achieve, that will be broken down into, let's say, 3 months target. So what exactly where you want to reach in 3 months, and then further we do a backward engineering to see what exactly you have to achieve in this month, next month, so that you reach a stage what you envision in 3 months and then 6 months and a year. So that is how we break down your objectives into a monthly actionable items. So let's look at a simple example of how this is achieved. Okay, so let's say in 12 months, a company wants to achieve a Series A ready, that is $1 million ARR. Uh, then that is the ultimate strategic decision at very high level. If you look at 6 months, to achieve that, it needs to be a product market fit with repeatable sales in at least one vertical that will be happening. So if you can do this, achieve this, then only the 12-month target can be a practical reality. If you break down that into 3 months, at least 10 reference customers that you need and case studies that you have to get, so that that will create the trust and impact that drives the 6 months goals. Further, if you're coming down to a month, okay, so here for 3 months we said like okay, 10 reference customers. To do that, what can be the monthly missions? So what this month we can do to achieve that? Here there are 5 options. So we'll select what 3 options that can drive that. Okay, redesigning the logo, it's kind of just a busy work. So it doesn't make a lot of difference and it doesn't actually drive you towards the 3 months target. Secure 10 discovery calls, yes. So if you can secure 10 discovery calls, then that will drive towards the target. Get 3 signed LOS, yes. Write 10 blocks, you're not sure. So whether the 10 blocks can generate that kind of attraction for you, you're not sure. So it's kind of a busy work. But if you build a pitch deck, then that can drive. So we need to identify the specific missions each month that can drive us towards the target, let's say for 3 months and 6 months and then the 12 months.
So, Arun, one quick question. So, this write 10 blogs looks very definite, right? I'm writing 10 blogs. I mean, again, part of the SEO, right? So, it will give me results down the line. So, can you throw more light on this? Why it was not part of the choice?
That why it's not part of it is like you never know writing 10 blocks what time frame it will achieve that results. Okay, so we are looking at a specific target in month 3. To achieve that specific target in month 3, what are the definitive or must do things that we need to do this month? So we're not suggesting you not to do writing a 10 blocks or redesigning your logos or whatever it is. But those 3 important aspects which are more likely drive you towards the target is what we're looking at. Okay, that is why writing a 10 blocks here we said it's a busy work. Okay, you write your blog, you do the canvassing for that blog, and people will come, and that will happen. That's an organic process that will happen. But for definitive goals, we need to have much more specific works that we need to perform. Hope I answered your question.
Sure. Yes.
So typically, you perform 3 to 6 missions in a month based on what is your product is, at what stage that you are, what are your objectives are. There are multiple things that we need to look into, but it's generally 3 to 6 missions is what you can manage in a month. So these missions are a mix of 3 broad categories. One, targeting a direct growth in terms of how many signups that you want, or how many meetings that are conversations that you want to achieve, how many letter of interest that you want to get, or how many pilots that you want to get. So these are like direct growth kind of missions. And the second category is system improvement. So how you funnel or what we saw yesterday is the life cycle that you can be. Okay, what kind of pricing that you can arrive, what kind of a narrative that you have to build, and what CRM that you need to incorporate so that whatever the incoming traffic is, like how better you can handle that. So there are a system improvement aspects. So some of the missions will be focused on this, so that parallelly you are also improving your system to handle whatever the traffic that you are generating. And then the third category is building founder branding, because most of the time when you're starting, it's the founder who is the brand material. So building a strong founder branding and the net creation of the network. So that is one mission where we will be looking into the relationships, event participation, synchros, etc. So these are the broad categories in which these missions will run. Again, which mission you will be running in which month, what it specifically targets, everything depends on the information that you have entered in the profile yesterday. So that is the base foundation, and we'll be adding some more information to that, so to arrive what exactly that we need to run each month. And these missions, so you'll be going to start a mission every week. You'll be having a definite design mission with all the content or assets that are required, and the owners are assigned, like who has to run it and who has to monitor it. So the things will be monitored every week, like how the mission is going, whether it is producing the results or not, whether it's on right track or not. Then you analyze it. If you have to fix it, we'll do those fixings. And at the end of the month, you capture the learnings of the whole month, like what we have targeted, whom we have targeted, whether where we are in terms of reaching those targets. We analyze that, and those learnings will be passed on to the next month, and the next month's missions will be designed with this learning. Like this, the framework will be progressively improving each month and month. So, in terms of measuring the mission, there are like two categories in which we'll measure. One is the primary category, which is like the main outcomes in terms of KPIs, whether those are qualified meetings, whether the demo is cooked, or whether those are LOIs, those kind of a primary metrics that will measure. There are secondary metrics in terms of supporting signals, like how many conversation, what is the conversation rate, what is the engagement rate, those kind of signals that we look into as part of a secondary measures. And with this, you feel good. And what is that feeling good about? Where like everyone knows the 3 to 5 things that matter this month. Okay, all other things, okay. You might run it in a background or keep it aside, but you focus on 3 to 5 things that matter this month that will move you towards your target. And then each month, as part of this running these missions, you are generating durable assets that you can reuse in the long run. So those assets are being generated as part of this, so you don't have to worry about creating the assets. Then the focus now is not on activity, like how busy you are, but more on the production, like how effective you are in terms of designing, executing, and reaching your targets. So that is what the mission mindset is. So with this, the first topic is done. So let's move to the next one. So when we are looking at the missions, there are 6 stages that we looked into in the life journey. So the mission statements can be aligned to those the stages of the life journey. So let's see a couple of examples, like how a generic statement can turn into a mission statement that addresses a specific stage. Here, the example is like sending generic email blast to a purchased 10K database. So there, we purchased a 10K database and we are sending generic emails to them to create that inward traction. If you apply a mission runs to this, now it is much more specific in terms of what exactly that we have to do. Instead of purchasing those many and sending generic emails to that, the effective way towards reaching your target might be securing 20 WhatsApp opt-ins from CTOs. Okay, so you don't just pray and pray, but you select specific target, you select specific channel, and then what is the specific outcome that you want to achieve. That will form a mission statement for you. Take another example. Okay, when in the second stage, when your audience are trying to evaluate your solution, so they are aware that you are offering this particular solution. Now they are trying to evaluate. In that stage, you say, okay, we have everything in our website. Go refer these features and all other things in the website. So that can be a vague statement. So you apply a mission lens to that. So what can be better way of doing it so that they can evaluate without much of a friction. So equip them with a one-page comparison sheet, which they can quickly go through, digest, and take much more confident decisions. So you are going to strengthen their evaluation rather than providing them a lot of information. You be much more specific, much more concise, and create an easily digestible information for them to evaluate yourself. So these kind of mission statements that will generate from our basic requirements, and will target them much more precisely, so that the customer progress happens naturally, organically. So now you can go to your interface. If anybody is not logged in it, please log in. And there you can see workshop, select your priority mission. Okay. Let's see how we can put our understanding of this mission and see what it results in. So has everyone opened, or do I need to wait for a couple of minutes for you to do that? So this is the last workshop for you guys. So you can just simply select a few things to even do it quickly. Okay, so here there are like 4 stages displayed of the customer. There's discovery, validation, pipeline, and revenue. Okay, in this you need to select any 2 phases. So I'll be selecting here discovery and validation. Now we're going to create missions for these 2 stages. So people are in discovery stage. So what kind of missions that we can run in the discovery stage? So what is that mission statement? When we say mission statement, the statement is assigned with like whom we are targeting, what is the target, what kind of a time frame that we are looking at. So that forms a mission statement. Here you have a link, need inspiration. Click that and you get few suggestions like how a mission statement can be formed. You can, if something is applicable to you, you can just click on this and that will be filled in there. And selecting secure 15 discovery calls. So my mission is to secure 15 discovery calls. I'm targeting enterprise CTOs in Mumbai, and my primary success metric is 15 held calls. Okay. So I'll add this mission to my stack. Like that, I need to add at least 2 more. For this example, I'm choosing the other 2 also from the suggestions. The second is to map 50 target accounts, and my target segment would be SaaS founders or like more than 5 million ARR. And my primary success metric is 50 verified contracts. In case of if you are dealing with D2C, okay, this might be little different, but still you have a target, you have a specific target, you have specific numbers to achieve, and you have specific criteria to measure that success. So whatever that comes to your mind right now, just try to enter that. So it is to understand this, and whatever our understanding it, putting it into a quick action rather than being perfect about it. So I'm adding this also to my stack, and I'll also add the third one, which is like conduct 10 user reviews. Who those users are, the current free users in the system. And that 10 interviews is what I need to look into in terms of success. So once everything is added into the stack, we'll go to the next step. So can I go to the next step, or do you want me to wait here for some time while you're doing this? You can take some time. We can wait. We have a good amount of time for us today. So we're not going to rush like yesterday. If you are done, let me know.
Yeah, Arun, I just have one doubt. See, as you have chose first and second the mission, no, I chose the third and fourth one. But when I went into the the format, no, So in that first the category came validation, and then the revenue part came.
Okay.
So I need to, in the first one I selected the category validation, and in the second page, when I added the mission to stack, in the second page I added revenue. Is it okay?
Okay, so see, when you select here something in this, let's say validation, validation and revenue. Okay.
Yeah.
You click confirm. You can see both those listed here, both the
Okay.
states.
Okay. Okay.
You select any of that and then add your mission.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
the
now
one,
I'm able to see the suggestions are different for validation and revenue.
yeah. So the ones provided here are just sample suggestions. And whoever completed this, just type in your chat so that you know. And if anyone needs assistance here, please let me know. So we have given a note at the bottom which says like, okay, avoid words like explore, try, use, secure, close, publish. Be much more specific. And this statement should help us exactly what we are going to target. So when you even convey that to your team or your investors or someone from your company, they should be exactly, they'll be knowing like what exactly you're trying to achieve this month, whom you're targeting, and within what time frame that you're trying to achieve. So that kind of a clarity that we wanted to get here from the mission statements. Giving further example, like if you're running an ad campaign, instead of talking about getting 1,000 clicks, okay, you talk about I need at least 300 clicks from this target role or these kind of users, and I get at least 30% conversion from those. Okay, that kind of a detailed, clear statement is what we need to provide when we are talking about the mission-based approach. Okay, please let me know if you're done with this, so that I can move to the next one. If you want 5 more minutes, that's okay. I can wait. Just think about in Jan what you want to do, what you want to achieve. For January 2026, try to see what missions that you can run, those 3 missions that you can take away that mission card with you, look at it for some time and see how you can strategize and execute that.
Yeah, Arun, I just want to know whether these mission stacks are need to be linked with the company's mission statement or not necessarily.
So these, as we discussed previously, like where you want to be in 12 months or 6 months, 3 months to achieve that, what needs to be executed this month. Okay. Anyone has any other questions? Or if you want me to help you write down your mission statements, let me know. So after this, in this workshop, like we have one more step to do, and ultimately you get a playbook for this month. Okay, are we done? Go ahead. So we have a session exclusively for the questions. So we'll let you know probably in another 10 to 15 minutes. We'll be having that section where you can ask questions, and me and Bharat will try to answer them. Please don't put so much of pressure on yourself to write these mission statements. Quickly, whatever comes to your mind right now, just try to put it up there. So what you're doing now is, you created, you designed a strategy around customer. Then you're breaking that strategy into monthly executable activities to realize that strategy. Okay, so now I'm moving to the next part. who are still trying to fill it up, okay, they can always come back to this screen. Let's see how further these missions can be developed. So now, whatever the missions that you have added, you can see that tag here. Select any one mission from this, and for this mission to be executed, what are the campaigns that you designed? Okay. Now the objective is to secure 15 discovery calls from, in our previous example, it was CTOs, like whatever that your target is. To achieve this mission, we need to run campaigns. So whether those are like organic ones or paid ones, it depends. But we need to run few campaigns. So what kind of a campaigns that you can run to achieve this particular mission? Okay, so here you have two boxes, campaign A and campaign B. Try to again add a channel, and through that channel, what kind of asset or offer that you will present, and how you are going to execute in terms of like how many people you're going to send this, or what kind of a scale in which you want to do this particular campaign. Here you have some assistance. Okay, click that. Again, there are three ideas listed. If any one of these suits what your mission is, then you can directly select. So here I selected LinkedIn DMs. So I'll be also sharing a one-page comparison PDF, a personalized video, and plus PDF to 30 prospects. That's what I'm trying to execute. And another campaign, I'll do a webinar. I'll offer a regulatory update deck as part of my webinar. And whatever the database that I have, I'll invite of my target customers. So I'll invite that database to this live session. So these are the campaigns that I want to execute to achieve that mission. So whatever that you think will work, the campaigns to achieve that particular mission, you can enter it here. Again, we'll wait for a few minutes so that everyone can have a look at what exactly this is and what needs to be filled in, and then we'll generate a playbook. Again, let me know if you have any questions on this particular screen. I can answer. So if you can see, we have world strategy, and that strategy turn into mission statements and monthly missions, and now each mission is now become an executable component or a campaign. Now we exactly know what we are targeting at, what we want to achieve this month, and what are our tools to achieve this. So I'm generating a playbook. I click generate playbook. Now it has given me a playbook where I selected a couple of stages: discovery, validation. So for that, what are the missions that I'm trying to achieve? And then one mission per one particular mission. So I zeroed upon a couple of that I want to do this one. Get your playbook like this with your information, which you can print. Going ahead with the next item in our agenda, so which is your monthly missions. So now what you're looking at is what the GTMly offers in terms of a playbooks. Okay. So if you see, the modern marketing is not a random act anymore. There is a lot of science that is involved within this heavy competition where you get 10 to hundreds of messages each day, So for your message to land and whatever the target that you are looking to achieve, okay, it has to go through some sort of a science so that the precision targeting can be achieved and better results can be expected. So you saw some of the sections of that science yesterday and part of today. So that is a lot of work for any founder. And forget about the founder, even for a team, that is a very good amount of work. And there are a lot of investment that you need to make in terms of various tools, databases, everything, and invest on people to do that. So this GTMly offers you that system. So based on your inputs and directions, it does all that science behind, and then it provides you an actionable playbook that you can execute every month. So this will create a compounding effect that you can see, like you implement this for a few months and then you can see the results are improving at a very good rate. So that's a compounding effect that it creates. You saw in the previous exercise how you can define mission statements, and then from those mission statements, how you can exactly pinpoint the missions that needs to be executed this month, and for each mission, what kind of a campaigns that you're going to run. So all this GTML is doing for you based on your inputs. But this is one of the example. The company here is uh, a logistic based company. So they're looking at operationally intensive logistic players, 200 to 1,000 employees, businesses, which are struggling with manual dispatch approvals and tracking inefficiencies. So this is the kind of ICP that they are targeting. And for that, the system suggested to run 4 missions this month. One, a founder-led outreach to validate the workflow automation for logistics apps. So the target is 20% reply rate across channels, 10 qualified conversations booked, and 3 pilot fit opportunities validated. So that kind of a precision target that it suggests. Okay. And then it also suggests like what are the channels that you can select and execute it. Like that, you have 3 more missions. The second mission talks about build authority in logistics workflow animation. So this particular mission is suggested to establish the company as a go-to expert for whatever the ICP based uh, pain points that we have discussed. And then it also suggests to expand its ecosystem of partners and then structure outbound for operational battle automation. So it is suggesting you a particular area on which you base your outbound activities. So there is an objective associated with it, there is a target, there is focused ICP, everything is defined in this mission. And when you go further into these details, now it suggests what are the things that you have to execute to be able to achieve that mission. Here it suggested 3 campaigns. One is email sequencing for logistic ops workflow automation. Another is LinkedIn DMs for high intent logistic, targeting high intent logistic operation managers. And third is WhatsApp based nudging campaigns for logistic operations. Again, it further broke down if you select an email sequencing. So what is the first email that you have to send? Again, for this email sequencing campaign also, it specifies specific objective
specific KPIs to achieve through this, and any notes that you need to consider while executing it. You can also see the exact email sequence at what time intervals that you will be do perform. So day 0, you're sending an email with this particular content, and after 3 days, you're sending another follow-up email, and then after 8 days, you're supporting it with another email which helps them to do the discovery. And if in case they're not responding, you're sending another email, making sure that okay, we respect your privacy or your concerns, but we'll also make sure that you will be we'll just reply later whenever you need us. Okay, so it suggests a sequence of emails, when to execute what, and then provides you the instructions and guidelines to execute this as well. Same way, when you're doing the LinkedIn thing, as you suggested, it's also giving you like what initial message that initial DM that you're going to do. Next touch point, what is that you have to convey, like that. Okay. It's also, there are 4 stages in which you're trying to communicate through the LinkedIn. And same goes with the WhatsApp. So it goes into that kind of a details. So you simply provide your inputs, your objectives, your direction, and it offers you this much of detailed plan and executable blocks that you just simply go and execute. So it's also giving you the asset in terms of content or in terms of a script if you have to do a video, or if you have to do a podcast, or if you are attending an event, so what kind of a message that you need to pass on, and once you pass on the message, what is the immediate next action that you need to perform. So it gives you all those details, so you just need to go and execute that, and whatever the results that are coming out from it, the feedback or the monitoring aspects of it, you feed those things back to the system, and it will take that feedback, improve the missions further, and provides you the next month's playbook. So this is how GTMly helps you in terms of designing strategy and also executing that strategy. So it's time for question answers. Like, what are the questions that you have? Me and Bharat are answering that in next 5 minutes.
Thank you, Arun. So if you, as Arun mentioned, if you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer them. Otherwise, we can move to the last hour and try to see how quickly we can wrap this up. So there is some comments. Okay. So just in case if you want to take a quick 2-minute break, I'm fine with it. We can just do a quick 2-minute break and then connect again. We'll start by 3. It's 2:58, probably 3:1 or 3:2. Okay, we're just taking a quick break for 2-3 minutes. Then again, we'll start. The last hour is going to be interesting, where you see how all of this will culminate and how you can start utilizing the system for your own needs and requirements. See you after the break. Lalit, just in case if you have questions, you can ask them now.
Yeah, I can. Yeah. So if I need to ask precisely regarding product-led growth, so I want to understand what are the early signals which you can suggest, like for the PLG is working before revenue shows up. So what are the signals which we need to understand, like PLG is working or not?
Okay. So as for you, so in the very first stage for a SaaS company who's looking at a PLG, what we need to identify is pricing and packaging.
Pricing and packaging.
Yeah. So what price you'll be able to sell and how you can package it so that your customers can clearly understand that you're solving a certain problem or you're trying to improve their uh, life better. Okay. So there is no other step. It is you have to get a revenue. If you're not going to get any revenue, at least from this, as far as this session is concerned, since we are talking about a go-to-market standpoint, I think trying to understand what price point you can sell, how you can package it is the very good first step. Okay. If you want to look at something before that, so while you're building the product or before you're building the product, trying to have at least 100 meaningful conversations. So we call this as 99 conversations. So you try to have meaningful conversations with your prospective customers. Okay. Go out to talk to them, see what they're looking at, how they feel about it. Are you trying to solve the real problem or not? In some sense, GTMly actually provides you a lot of that when you do this ICP. So what we do behind the scenes is we bring in a world of possibilities for you. We understand a lot of industries. We have gathered expertise over the last 2 decades. And probably you can try it out and test it out to gain some confidence as well. Who tell you what is the customer actually looking at? Okay, we might not be 100% sure, but we can give you with 80% or a 90% guarantee that these are the most important things customers are looking at. Okay. So these are the situations where they're currently in. So how do you help them move to go forward? How do you create that hope that there'll be an impact that you can create?
So, in the context of GTM, like as we are very much compliance heavy product, like so, like I would say trust heavy product like escrow, right, which we are currently building. So, what should come first in terms of GTM? Like it should be compliance or early case studies or partner credibility or accountability, something which we should target first as a GTM strategy.
And irrespective of product, okay, probably I would have started with this during the session. Irrespective of the product, it is important for you to get a clear testimonial or a clear case study from your customer. I know these are not something where most of the founders are comfortable with, but you need to get used to it. Go out in the market. Don't worry about what you're building. Okay, you can keep building it. It can be half baked. It can be only 20% ready. You can still go out and talk to customer. You can find somebody who can use that. Okay. Once you know who is going to use it, then you can start worrying about everything else.
So considering like, for example, X number of customers with the Y number of use cases, okay. So as what you would suggest, like I would say in terms of GTM motion, what we should test if I'm going and talking about 99 testimonials, right? So what should I test in respect to GTM, like in GTM motion, what should I test first with them?
Okay. So GTM motion will start once you complete that 99 conversations. The first 99 conversations, this is during the product or before you're building the product. So during that phase, it has to be manual. It has to be your network. Maybe you can send out a couple of DMs on LinkedIn if it is a B2B, since you said it is a GRC product. So you can send out DMs on the LinkedIn and try to find out. But the kind of GTM motion that you need to adopt is completely altogether a different session that we normally do. It depends on the annual contract value and number of customers that you are looking at achieving per year. Okay, so there's a lot of science behind whether you need to go with a no touch or a low touch, or based on your pricing, you need to do a completely dedicated touch marketing, because a lot of companies in India and also across the globe, first of all, they don't understand what GTM motion is. Second, even they understand, they don't get to execute that properly.
Okay. So, like for example, I'm going for 99 testimonials as you are recommending, right? So, like for my initial ICPs, right? So, what we should be avoiding in terms of diluting the messaging to convey like what we are doing, what like in terms of maybe over promising or overbuilding or diluting the message. What should be avoiding in that context, like while having those conversations with them, maybe through references or LinkedIn or DMs or whatever it is.
Mhm. Okay. So probably we would run through a small story again as part of the next 1 hour. You might get some clarity around it. And if you have gone through the story that Arun has narrated, has given the narration for you yesterday about the footwear retailer.
Yeah.
Okay. So the whole idea, even for Arav or even for Varun, is we don't know what customers are looking out for. Okay. We need to be in the market because why we call this as founder-led growth initially is it is you as a founder, it is very important for you to go out and talk to customers, prospects, figure out who is the right guy, who is not the right guy. Okay. I mean, we have when we were working with GTMly, even before we released it to founders, we underwent through a lot of interactions with our existing customers. We have a big network of customers, so almost for close to 2 years, we did a lot of understanding. We tried studying what kind of campaigns will work, what kind of messaging would work. Then we zeroed down saying that, okay, this is not for what we're building is not for the enterprise market. We were looking to build something for founder-led growth.
So basically, it's kind of a GTM reset, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yeah. So it is. Don't keep any. I would say go out free, talk to them. You might fail. It's okay to fail and then start learning. Okay. There is you don't need to hesitate. Whatever, but be honest. Tell them that this is what you're doing. Some people might accept it. Some might not accept it. But there would be people who would accept and give you results or who would give you answers that you are looking out for.
Okay. So just one or two more questions, like very quickly. You can maybe briefly give me one or two liners. Like, as you said, like pricing and packaging, which we should focus, right? Like my very first question. So, how we can validate the willingness among the customers to pay for the product, because it's a SaaS model, right? So people are looking for freemiums or trials, and then they need some time, but eventually there is a cost. Like there is an overburden on the companies. Including every type of cost, right? So how we should validate that willingness among the customer to pay before we scale or before we go for acquisitions of other clients and all? Yeah.
That's a threshold as a founders we need to cross.
Yeah.
We are 5 founders, and there's one guy who says from day one saying that we need to charge. There's another person who says, okay, we need to first test out the market, get a pulse, get case studies, then start doing a pricing. Okay.
Yeah.
But anything that can help you build trust. That's a good sign for you to start asking them to pay for it. That's how I look at it. Probably we can have a little detailed discussion on pricing offline.
Okay,
So,
sure.
if I can answer that, okay, there are 2 ways generally we do. One is you decide upon the kind of value your solution delivers to your customer, and you try to convey that value, see how the customers are responding to that, what they're willing to pay to get that value with the conversations and others that you do, and then you finalize the pricing. The second way around it is like you let customers find the value. So what value they are looking at it, and what they are envisioning the value, and based on what customer is envisioning the value out of your solution, then you position it accordingly and price it accordingly. So like that, there are multiple ways of looking at doing the pricing. It's not one single thing that works for everyone.
and probably getting the revenue model right is one of the fundamental things.
Yeah. So one last question, if you allow, just one last quick,
Sure.
in the same like as I think Mr. Prashant was answering. So the, just one single metric which if you can specify while giving probably a demo or a session to the customer, okay, and understanding or maybe explaining the value add for them, and understanding like for as you are saying like just understand which value they are willing to pay and what they want in terms of more value addition or something like that. So what metric I should focus or I should track or maybe to monitor in that particular conversation, which may drive, I would say the better revenue streams for the longer run?
I don't have a direct answer for this. Maybe a short answer for this.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at acquiring customers, there are multiple steps.
Yeah.
It starts from awareness, education,
Yeah.
prioritization, selection, evaluation, then finally a decision comes in.
Yeah.
Okay. But each of this stage is actually divided into a lot of sub-steps. Let's say you found a customer. So he has not gone through awareness and education. You have selected the customer and the customer has shown some interest. You will do 5 meetings, 6 meetings, 3 meetings, whatever be it is. So each meeting will start showing him what is the value that you can offer so that you can get to that next meeting. What is the optimal number of meetings that you can do to close this sale? Okay. So for each of these kinds of meetings that you put together, okay, this is where the science will start helping you. What are all the different steps and what are all the different sub-steps that we need to look at, and what are the metrics for each of these steps? Now, let's say if I'm looking at awareness, what is that I'm looking at? What is the volume metrics? So we normally measure 3 kinds of metrics. What we call as a volume metrics, conversion metrics, which is a percentage, and then the time metrics, the amount of time it takes for you to move a customer from one stage to another stage. These are 3 different metrics that we measure so that we can start improving as we move forward. That's part of the answer. Second, what is that one thing you should be validating is what is the 20% of feature which they generally tend to use it most of the times. So if you can concentrate and identify that one feature which they are willing to pay, or the most important 2 or 3 features for which they are willing to pay, just stick to that. So that should give you a good validation. You think there are 10 features, then you ask them which is the most important, which is that feature without which they cannot do their day-to-day work or make some progress.
Understood. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. As of now, I'm good with that. Yeah, we can continue with the session. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks for answering all the questions.
Thank you. Okay. So now we're at the last hour. What we're going to do now is we're going to bring all the pieces together, see how they actually fit. Now, so as Arun has introduced you to what we call as a playbook. Either you have 2-3 ways of doing it. Most of the founders, what they start doing at it is whenever we ask them, what are you doing for marketing? They'll say, okay, I'm using email marketing, I'm using calling, I'm using some other tool. So they lack a strategy, and at times they lack even a tactic. They are looking at a simple tool to give them results. Yes, some of them will give you results, but they're not going to be there. They're not going to be consistent. That is where we keep falling back, not able to understand why things are not working. No. So with GTMly, we put all of this together into a very simple thing called as a playbook, which you can execute on your own and start seeing results happening. Because there are a lot of things happened behind. It identified who is your ICP, it identified what kind of messaging needs to be done, what is the most important jobs for them, which situations they are in, It identified what needs to be done at each and every stage, what kind of content we need to be worried about, what kind of activities do we need to worry about. All of this will come together so that we can, as founders, we can start looking at what is important for us and then worry about the rest of the portions. Okay. So with that, let me just quickly start a small story to narrate how this whole thing helps. Okay. So just like the yesterday, now we are looking at Rahul, who is the founder of TaskFlow, which is a task management platform. So what Rahul is trying to do is he's running ads and he's targeting a bunch of people, but his CPA is very high. Okay. He's expecting that his product-led guessing work instead of not knowing who is the customer. Okay. He's spending about $400 every month to simply advertise online and then expecting some miracles to happen. Nothing has happened so far. So he decided to see who is that guys whom we need to concentrate on. So he looked at his 10 customers, his best 10 customers, and then figured out that they're not the small business owners, but they're actually remote engineering leads at scale ups. Okay, these are companies which are growing. So as a first step, he started ignoring everybody else and started focusing on leads which are in certain kinds of companies. The new target is Priya, who is VP engineering, who uses Slack and who generally hates complexity. When you do this initial conversations, these are things that you'll also get to know. Apart from using a platform like GTMly, you'll also get to know what they like, what they dislike, what are their trigger points, what are their anxieties as such. Then he started mapping all of this together in his brain. Okay, so let's understand what Priya is doing. Priya's trigger is she missed a deadline, and she's kind of worried about another new tool. And her most important thing is she wants to control. She wants to be in control of everything. She wants to be showcased as a genius leader in front of her seniors. So that's a status that she's actually looking for. So now with this, as we discussed, the whole funnel of AIDA, awareness, interest, desire, action, has been dead. And now he starts mapping the life cycle across multiple stages. For SaaS, it is a little different. For other businesses, this is what it actually means: an awareness, evaluation, decision, activation, and impact. He realizes that there are a lot of signups that are happening, but the revenue doesn't happen. Revenue only happens at the activation, not at the decision basis. So he starts shifting. So once he mapped everything, he started identifying where is he losing, why is he losing, which is kind of important. By breaking it down, we'll be able to understand it in a much better way. So he started shifting. Marketing now owns the whole onboarding content as well, which is where the activation happens. So he understood the whole progress. Then he's looking at 3 different kinds of things. From a practical standpoint, he's looking at saving a couple of hours. Emotionally, he wants his customers to sleep better. Socially, they want to get promoted. So then now the new headline from a productivity game to, it's called the command center for remote teams who want to ship fast. So when you see a message like this, these are not generic messages. You can go and Google yourself on SEO, you might hardly find anything. Okay. On GEO, hardly you might find anything. But you will start getting with efforts like this. As you progress over a period of time, you will start getting customers who are a lot more relevant to your business, who are a lot more related to your business. Okay. When somebody sees this, who is managing remote teams, they jump out of their chair and then they start looking at and start evaluating your solution rather than a simple task management solution. Now he starts building a strategy around it. Okay, he combines his ICP, his life cycle, and the progress that made. So as I said, the new positioning is the command center for remote engineering teams. It is no more a generic productivity tool, which is highly niche, which is highly trustworthy, and most importantly, it lowers his CPA. Based on this, he defines a monthly mission. Okay, so monthly mission is to fix his activation where he's losing a lot of customers. Okay. Increase setup completion by 20% using in-app guides. This is the mission that everybody agreed. So the entire team is aligned towards that one single goal with no distraction at all. As soon as he did this, there is a feedback loop that they got. They understood what worked, where it failed, and then based on this, they started seeing outcomes. They started seeing growth being a little more predictable. Okay. This is how a journey from a confusion to clarity arrives. These are not simple stories or narratives. These are happening with lots and lots of companies. We have seen this with a lot of our existing customers where they start with no clarity at all, and then they simply think this market is not for them. Then we come back and tell them with an appealing data. We tell them why this works. Then they start looking at it and start doing trials. So now, since you understood what a mission is, what a playbook is, let me quickly show you a small understanding about what are all the other things that you can actually get from GTMly. So you build a robot, which is your mission playbook, which can start executing things on your own. Then we have three different things that we offer as part of, along with mission playbooks. We offer extensions. So these extensions are like somebody asked, what kind of GTM motion I need to follow? How do I improve my ICP? How do I decide which behavioral signals would work? What won't work? How do I test it? Okay, I built a value proposition. How do I test it now? How do I identify all my hypotheses and see whether it is working or not? Okay. And we'll also help companies in terms of putting together a right revenue models as well. Then we have a lot of plugins. So there are about 140 different systems which we have integrated as a platform. That is where we pull data from different sources. These can be tools related to SEO. This can be tools related to analytics. This can be tools related to data, tools related to content like Canva and Figma. Okay. And finally, we have few add-ons where we do we take care of your execution as well. So we not only design your playbooks. Once you agree on the playbooks, you give and go ahead. Then we'll execute this whole playbooks and start monitoring them so that you can get a proper feedback of that as such. We also work on add-ons like founder visibility, where we specifically look at what needs to be done, what kind of PR needs to be done, how do we increase your visibility, keeping in mind of all the constraints that you have as a company. Then we also do market analysis, a detailed market analysis, detailed competitor analysis as such, and we create a pipeline of prospective customers for your launch, for your waitlist programs. With all of this, all we're trying to do is we want to make you so robust that you can start attracting more and more customers. So that's the whole idea of GTMly. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them before I jump on to the next part. I'll just give it a minute, just in case if you have questions.
Yeah, Bharat, see, as far as the 2 days the workshop is concerned, no, I'm able to infer that the GTMly is a bit a time-bound process wherein we cannot expect the result immediately. Maybe if we start implementing, no, we can't expect the result in the 1 month time. maybe, of course, the 6 months time frame is the fairly reasonable one to see a considerable progress in our journey. Am I right?
Yes, it depends. Again, it depends on what we are measuring. But the minimum timeline that we are looking at is about anywhere between 3 to 6 months. You're absolutely right. Okay, we don't have any questions. We can move on. Let me just trying to open something. Just give me a minute. Okay, so now that we tried understanding this whole process of bringing together a simple GTM system on your own, what are the elements and how GTMly can help. So let me also give you a context of why we built GTMly. What has happened behind the scenes, so that you can also start relating it to some of your products as such. So for us, GTMly stands for go to market. GTM, those are 3 words, and then for LY, there are multiple meanings that we have. One, the very first thing is strategy. We want to let you know whom you should sell to, what your offer should be, why they should care. Even you can know all of this even before running one single campaign. And then we set those benchmarks and then start running these campaigns so that we can see what has been assumed is right or wrong, to what extent we are able to achieve it. So for us, GTMly is more systematical. Okay. I know as founders, we keep doing multiple things. At least in our company, we have we are significantly older and we have multiple people who can handle specific things. But for most of the solo entrepreneurs, most of the early companies, you have to do everything. You have to look at product, you have to look at your marketing, you have to look at compliance, all kinds of issues. So here, GTM would solve at least the marketing component of it. It will make it more systematic. It will ensure all the outreach is done properly, all the follow-ups are done properly, all the hands off between different departments, marketing, sales, and customer success follow a clear process which can be repeatable, which is what our most important priority is. Just like Varun was asking, and probably Shrikant was also asking, GTMly will help you to make your choices on real signals. You can really understand what is happening inside your funnel. You can really understand why you're losing your customers, to whom you're losing, what kind of fixes that you need to do in order to ensure you can start winning them better. And as I said, what normally takes months, if not weeks of effort, we do it in minutes and hours with GTMly. That's the speed that we bring in. And everything what you do today, what you experiment today, would be followed up into the next month activities, so that there is a completely no activity that we're doing gets lost. And most importantly, GTMly stands for go to market monthly. This is where we get all your plans onto a monthly calendar, onto a weekly calendar, and we will let you know what you need to do on a Monday morning, what you need to do on a Wednesday morning, and what you need to review on a Friday evening, so that you are very clear of what's been done, what kind of results have been achieved. So welcome to the new marketing operating system, GTMly. So why we built the system, what has actually went behind the scenes is something like this. Most of the GTM advice that you see, that you hear, is all built for large companies with big budgets and teams. And that's been a consistent problem. Founders are left with scattered tactics, which is what we normally follow, some jargons, at times some very conflicting advices. This we faced on our own, starting from investors to other companies to our board members. They'll keep asking us, what is your GTM strategy? And most of the times, the guys who are asking, they themselves are not very clear. And they expect us to answer in a way that they can understand. This has allowed us to think, how do we make this whole GTM very practical, very understandable, and most importantly, doable for smaller teams. So our point of view was coming more from how do we help smaller companies and fast moving companies versus a large giants or companies with more than $10 million business. This is completely a different ball game because here we're looking at speed, focus, and learning rather than scale. Small teams should not copy the enterprise CTM, is what we believe. Small teams should learn a lot before defining their repeatable CTM. And most of the times, the GTM strategy for startups are kind of must be very, very sequential. It cannot be parallel. You cannot do a lot more things. That's why we define this mission with very narrow focus instead of, as Arun was pointing it out on the other session, instead of buying a 10K leads and then blasting it all over, we rather want you to focus in your neighborhood. If you think there are customers there, just concentrate on your neighborhood for next 15 days. Reach out to all of them, figure out whom you can get onboarded and what kind of lessons that you can learn. If all of this has to happen, we need a very, very simple system, an actionable system that anyone can follow. If you look at the MarTech landscape today, what's been a few hundred tools during early 2020s to today, there are more than 10,000 plus tools. This tool landscape is evolving. On top of it, with AI coming in place, it is even more confusing. So that is the reason why it almost took us a couple of years to test, build the whole system. We wanted the system to be a step-by-step system. We wanted to ensure that you understand it clearly as to what is happening. We wanted the system to be transparent so that you can understand, what do I do first now, what matters to me now, where do I avoid wasting my effort. So there's a whole framework that we have put together, which has a lot of practical playbooks. System was tested with real founders, not just a simple theory. And the kind of repository that we carry for industries is very immense. We use multiple recognized and used systems for enterprises, which we brought in for smaller founders. So that helped us to design. We started as a simple system, but eventually we realized that this simple system cannot serve a founder to get the founder-led growth and reach the first milestone of hitting that 1, and from 1 to 10 and 10 to 100. So we looked at creating an entire operating system as such, starting from defining your strategy, designing content, executing it, monitoring it, and continuously iterating based on feedback. This is how we ended up creating GTMly. Even for us, the process was not simple. So we built tens of products, and some of them haven't seen light out of our office itself. So we've learned this very hard. Okay, so what can you expect today from our GTMly offering is, GTMly is currently a GTM OS, majorly supporting mission-based monthly playbooks, or playbooks with a focus more around marketing. As we move forward, we are evolving this as a complete ecosystem to cater to customer acquisition, retention, and expansion, which is marketing, sales, and your customer success as well. We've already started onboarding a lot of marketplace partners who can help you in different sets of activities as such. So this was the whole thought behind GTMly. So if you have questions, let me answer them before I conclude.
Yeah, Bharat, one request. You have put a lot of time and efforts in organizing this 2 day workshop, and we are also very eager to learn the things. It would be really helpful if you could give us some certificate or the participation certificate sort of a thing. It will help us. We can also put it in social media, the LinkedIn and other things, and it will mutually help us to know each other, and also the new companies also they can come to know about GTMly as well as know our business.
Thank you. Thanks for the suggestion, and it's already in the process. So
Thank you.
whoever is able to finish some of the exercises,
Yeah.
be able to provide
Yeah.
them.
Thank you for considering our request.
Okay, let me. Okay. Thank you for being patient and spending your valuable time on the last 2 days. So I'm going to take another 5 minutes. We'll do a quick recap and look at what are our next steps. So we looked at customer-led growth as a framework. We looked at how do we set objectives. We tried understanding how do you first identify your ICP and then start enriching their ICP. Identify what are the patterns, behavioral patterns.
Sorry to interrupt. Lalit wants to ask a couple more questions.
Sure.
Okay. As I have heard the entire conversation, so I want to understand, like at the initial stage of GTM, like as you said, couple of mostly founders or maybe early stage startups are following enterprise GTM plans, and they ended up with burning the money, time, efforts. It may not work. So, what do you suggest in terms of for the early stage startups, like which work or which task of GTM strategy should founders never delegate to someone? They should do on their own.
So do you have a luxury to give anything back to somebody? Oh, and let me probably put this way. What I learned in the last 2 decades of my experience is founder has to be the face of the company. He has to reach out to the customers. Even your product is screwed up, that's still okay. You can find somebody who is happy with the screwed up product. This is the fact. Okay. You don't spend. I would, if I have to divide my time, I would rather focus 60% on reaching out to customers and doing everything that is related to marketing, sales, and customer success.
Okay.
And keep rest of the activities for your product development, for your compliance, all of that as a smaller component, but you have to allocate the major chunk towards this. I'm not sure if this answered your question or not.
Yeah, somewhere. Okay, now I got the context. So one last is like how we can identify or like differentiate, because probably there would be a hairline difference or maybe a major difference, but not sure much about that. But how to identify it's a product problem or a GTM problem? How we can identify that?
Okay. So the reason why we built GTMly is to address your GTM problem. If the product is good enough, GTMly will take your product to market. So for you to identify whether the product itself is wrong, you're not solving the right pain point, then there is some very basic stuff that you can do with a business model canvas. There are 7 rules on how you can identify whether your product is good, whether you're solving your most important customers, the top pain point where they're willing to spend money. Okay. We looked at some of the stuff called as vanity metrics. If this is more towards a vanity, then customers are not going to spend their time and effort to understand. Even though you're solving a serious problem, if they can live without that, which happens with most of the governance and risk compliance products, they'll still live with that. Okay. They're not bothered about how whether they need to use your product, they're okay with the manual process, they're okay with outsourcing it to somebody, they would still do that.
Okay.
So there are, I'll share this 7 simple questions that you can look at to identify whether your product is a good fit or not. For you to exercise this, there is something called as a value proposition canvas.
Okay.
So that will identify what your product is offering in terms of what pains it is solving for the customers, what gains it can provide to customers. This framework, you can do a hypothesis and start testing out as well. Okay. And if you believe your product is worth, then there might be a problem with the messaging.
Okay.
And most importantly, maybe if you are the only guy in the market, then there is something seriously wrong. Either you are ahead of time,
Okay.
or customers don't want it.
Yeah, it could be either of this. Yeah.
We did this a lot of times, so I'm sharing our experience.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, definitely. I would be waiting for those 7 questions that may help us to identify that. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Okay, so we've looked at how we can enrich your ICP in terms of what are the pains that they are going through, what are their goals, how do you align them with your product messaging. Then we looked at the entire life cycle from an awareness to impact. We also tried understanding how do I break my 1-year goal into a monthly machine. What is my a bigger goal? How do I break it down to 6 months? How do I break it down to a quarter and then to a month and a week? And this feedback loop keeps continuing so that we can start looking at where we are making a progress. This is one that we looked at. So before I jump onto this, let me quickly share another small piece of document. I would quickly run through this quick document. And just to give you a sense of why having a system like GTMly would help you, even if most of the companies think, okay, we've already bought tools, we're already doing advertising, and another addition, it's going to make my life costly. I'm not going to buy it, is what most of the times what we hear from our customers. Okay, let's take this simple context. So there's a company which is selling a product with an ACV of annual contract value of about 25,000 rupees. So their main channel is YouTube ads for demand generation. What are they looking at is they're looking at contracts, which leads to revenue, but not seriously views, which is not going to help you in any format. So scenario 1, if you look at on the left-hand side, this is ads first, no GTM system in place. So you spend 50,000 rupees. You're trying to address a few issues, varied response time, missed follow-ups, inconsistent qualification. So you spend 50,000 rupees, you get about 400 clicks. Sorry, about from the 50,000 views, you get 400 clicks, which is about 0.8%. And from that, you get about 2% inquiries, which are 8. And then you get qualified, which are sales qualified leads, about 3 leads, which is 40%. It can be a little higher as well. And then you get to see a close rate of 30%, which is 1 contract. For 50,000 rupees you have spent, you got 25,000 rupees as revenue. So the cost per contract is 50,000 rupees. Okay. In this mode, if I have to ask you, how do you, if you have to increase the number of customers, what would you do? So you're getting 50,000, from 50,000 views, you're getting 1 customer. So if I have to get 5 customers, what will you do? Again, say that on the chat, or probably you can speak out as well. Okay. So most of the time, the answer that we hear from companies are, will increase the input. That is, will increase the number of leads that we're generating, will spend money in terms of generating more number of leads. That's is not the most efficient way of doing it. There are, without doing anything, from this 400 clicks with this 8 inquiries, you can convert not one, but probably 2 or 3 customers. That is what a GTM system will help you to bring, because we divide every stage within the funnel into multiple substeps, and we try to understand what can be improved at each of these substeps so that we can see the overall value being increased. And now with the same, we were spending 50,000 for ads and another 30,000 rupees for a GTM system. We fixed few things. So we say, okay, there is a 15-minute response rule, a clear checklist to identify who is the prospect, and a very simple call structure. So we got 50,000 views. And from that, still we're expecting that, okay, 8%, 0.8% conversion ratio, which is 400 clicks. Here, we increased because we understood we provided a much faster response. We have a much clearer checklist of qualifying customers. We've increased our inquiries by 1.5%, which gives you about 14 inquiries. Similarly, we've increased our qualification rate because of, again, all the rules that are being set. So from this 14, we got about 8 leads. And we also improved our closing rate by being very responsive, by being able to provide what is that right information for them to decide upon. So this has led to 3 contracts. And now if you look at it, by spending another 30,000, you have reduced your cost per contract to almost half. This is very, very, very minimal progress that you can expect by deploying a system like GTMly. So what are the next steps for you? Is one, you can join our future bootcamps, which we keep doing, and most likely from January onwards, we'll almost have one bootcamp every week on different topics. You can be part of those programs. Some of them would be free, some of them would be paid. And then you can also opt into our platform and start subscribing to the platform, start utilizing the whole solution for your specific needs as a package. Third, we also offer an accelerator program. We're launching one in the first quarter of 2026, which will be a 6-month program, a high involvement engagement, where we shortlist few companies and then start working with them to enable a certain revenue goals. This is how you can engage with us. Okay, so as a next steps, whoever is interested, please reach out. You can schedule a call to get your zero playbook, a one-on-one session that will give you a little more clarity of how your playbook is going to look like, what you would get out of that playbook. We can also answer some of your questions, which are very, very specific to your business. You can reach out to Veena. Veena, can you just leave your number here so that people can reach out to you, or Veena can reach out to you to schedule calls on coming Monday or Tuesday. So that's it from our side for today. Thank you. Thank you very much for taking your time. If you have any questions, we can take another 5 minutes to answer them before we conclude. Okay. It looks like there is enough information that we've already provided, and hope it is not overwhelming. Please digest this information, try to access the platform over the weekend, try to see how this can be applicable to your own needs. Once again, signing off. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, Bharat. Thank you, Arun. Thank you, Prashant. Thanks all colleagues. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.